Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gran Terra Rebirth, a return to our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play series created and run previously by me. I am John, the executive producer here at Fellowship Films, and the game master for the evening. So buckle up, because it's time to go back to 7 months ago. A number of months ago. Almost 7. When last we left Gran Terra, a group of adventurers that would later come to be known as the Unknown Champions had traveled across the world seeking to stop the reemergence of a goddess of destruction and chaos and entropy known only as Eidos. She managed to mess with the party quite a lot throughout the entirety of the run, giving them all various reasons to want her dead. And as they journeyed and as they traveled, they discovered that Eidos was a mechanism, some sort of integral mechanic to the way this plane worked. In that the god of creation would create the world and basically put it on a timer. And after a certain amount of time or a certain number of events, Eidos would reemerge and destroy the world, ripping it down to its base components and rebuilding it into a new one. This had supposedly been meant to happen many thousands of years ago, but another adventuring party very similar to our Forgotten Champions had successfully sealed them away, where our Forgotten Champions were not quite so successful.
One goddamn die roll.
Just missed it
The
by
bullshit.
That
It's like a 9 or an 8 too, wasn't it?
It was very close, yes.
Yeah.
And thus, the end of the world came. The material plane and all the lands thereof were swallowed in darkness and ripped apart, destroyed, at the very fabric of their being, reassimilated into what would then become a new world, the rebirth of Gran Terra. And then thousands, millions, centuries, hundreds and thousands and millions of years, and the world has been reconstructed. Partially. The world of Gran Terra as we know it now exists nebulously. A vast plane of existence that seems to just abruptly cut off at the edges and drop into a nothingness, an abyss of dark energy that surrounds it and swirls, and almost like a black mist that stretches out to the horizon and beyond. Something seems to have stalled the reconstruction of the plane, and no one's quite sure what or why. The only thing that is certain is that it's tied to what has been dubbed as the Tower of the Gods, a massive structure reaching beyond the skyline into the air next to the central city of Kor that has been established as sort of the capital of this burgeoning world, and has been this way for thousands of years, with Kor sitting right at the edge of this drop into the abyss. But that's not quite what concerns our current protagonists. Some other things are involved. And the first person that we're going to meet today is a lone figure living on the edge of the abyss, south of Kor. Aaron, would you please introduce yourself and your character?
Hi, I'm Aaron. They, them, there. Fuck. I need to figure out a way to integrate that into my introductions at some point.
I mean, that was good.
Yeah. Be playing random music in the background because my neighbors don't know when to shut up.
You've got a soundtrack.
I will be playing Nyx, the human druid of the abyss.
And we find Nyx sitting up at a camp south of the city of Kor. You can see this. You can see the city on the northern horizon. It's distant, but not. But I mean, as with everything, your eye is drawn to the Tower of the Gods right next to it. This massive column that just pierces into the clouds above and stretches beyond imagination. You're a ways south, next to, sort of along the edge of a forest that is on the edge of the abyss, and that's sort of where you set up your camp. And as you go about your morning, you occasionally find your thoughts and vision drifting to the north, as it often does, because as much as the abyss concerns you, that tower, for whatever reason, just constantly draws your attention whenever you're not thinking. Just sort of whenever you're not actively consumed with something, you find your gaze drifting that way. And your morning goes on, and you eventually head to take a bath, because, you're near a river, and you like to not smell like death all the time. And it is while you're bathing that you suddenly find yourself at Spear Point, surrounded by the armed and armored members of the Coronite Rangers, whom you have seen before from a distance, but for whatever reason, you didn't see them approaching as you were bathing. There's 2 men, 2 women, sort of standing above you, pointing their spears down, looking at you. What do you look like?
Nyx is a reasonably young man, though his hair is mostly white. It's cut sort of short, probably sheared with a knife or a sharp branch. His features are ragged. He has more scars than one might expect of someone his age, even living alone in the outskirts. His general appearance is a bit wild, but not entirely unkempt. Clearly someone who, as he looks at the bows pointed at him, is not entirely unfamiliar with the civilized world and its idiocies.
Well, I think we've found what we're looking for, folks. Come on, kid, let's get you back to the city. And within short order, Nyx finds himself shoved in a cage on a cart and being carted back to the city. You are given
There's some colorful swearing and druidic.
You are given a robe to make yourself decent with, but that is all you are given, as the rest of your camp and belongings have apparently been packed up and shoved in the back of this cart as well. Near you, but not with you. And this caravan begins marching north. Well, rolling north. It's a bit of a ways. And along the way, you find yourself, again, puzzling between the abyss and the tower. Which one would you focus more on if you had the choice?
Given that I'm being currently dragged away from it, probably the abyss, because you don't want the thing inside to get out. So you want
go ahead and make me a perception check.
Side 2. Cool, the one thing I'm good at. Being wise. 15.
So you stare at this roiling blackness that exists just over the edge and occasionally peers over. And as you do, you notice that it's being particularly active in one spot further along the road as the caravan is moving. You don't seem to be the only one that notices this as the Coronite Rangers sort of stop and ready their weapons just in case something weird is about to happen, because the Abyss is a fairly unknown entity and it's hard to discern what it's going to do. And as you do, this roiling mass of black mist just pulses over the edge of the Abyss, over the edge of the land, and just roils onto the ground, moving towards you and towards the caravan. It comes within a few feet before stopping and swirling. And as it does, you see bits of fire and embers starting to burst and flicker from within the mist. It seems to be constructing something. Something is happening. You've seen this before. This is what happens when the mist is producing something from itself. This roiling mass of fog gets denser, and from within it, a fire bursts, erupting, almost like an explosive, but no sound is emitted. It's just flames. And then comes sound. You hear the crackling of fire and the burning and the screaming? No, not quite screaming. Voices. Something trying to speak. Something trying to say a name. And then it pulls away. And as it pulls away, the mist clears, and there is a very singed and very unconscious female drow laying on the ground. And now, while you're not currently conscious, Sarah, would you please introduce yourself and your character?
Sure, I'm Sarah. I have previously been Maeve, who was turned into a flesh golem, and then a druid who had a sloth. You may have seen me in Task Force Echo as the one who loved fire and then did a twist at the very end that pissed everyone else off.
And sandwiches.
Loved sandwiches. And for this game, I'll be playing Five. Five is a drow, so white hair, purple eyes. She has the look of somebody who lives in a cage. She's normal height, but she's kind of feral and hunched, and she doesn't look like she trusts anybody. That's about it.
Right now, she looks unconscious, and she is swiftly deposited into the cage near Nyx. The rangers voicing that they don't know what to do with this one. They're just going to bring it back with them and have someone else that is paid more money figure it out for them.
So gonna try and talk to the unconscious. Actually, first a question. Did the spitting of a name sound like deep speech to me?
Make an intelligence saving throw.
This just happened. Oh, what? It's the same one.
It sounded. It didn't sound like deep speech. It sounded the best approximation you could make it. And while you don't speak the language, you've heard it before. It sounded like a guttural Elvish.
Okay.
Like it as guttural as Elvish can get, which isn't very guttural, but there's a certain level to it. It did not sound like deep speech, though. It sounded like that.
Okay.
And the cart continues heading north, where our perspective shifts. Now, we pull back as the cart continues down and move over to the massive city of Kor. Kor is the capital city of Gran Terra, as the land exists. It sits on the edge of the abyss and also on the edge of the Ceaseless Falls, a massive lake that is constantly pouring into the abyss, but doesn't ever seem to lose water, and also doesn't ever seem to actually have a current that would lead into the abyss. You would imagine that a waterfall would drag things towards it, but this doesn't. The city is a massive walled fixture based right next to the tower. You can actually get to the tower from within the city, intentionally so. And is just a sweeping cityscape with variety of shrines to minor divines scattered throughout the outer edges, inside the wall, outside the wall. Various districts there's the docks that are on the lake. There is a market district. There's a town square. There's more of a temple district that has various temples to the major divines. The triumvirate, which is where the ruling body of the city exists, and our attention is coming to the central marketplace, sort of a converging point where four of the districts sort of connect at a corner. And the central market is typically a bustling place. There's typically traders there. There are people wandering around doing their thing, looking for jobs, looking for people to do jobs for them. And in the center of this, there is a market circle at which there is a dwarven weaponsmith and armorsmith sitting together. There is a stall. There's one stall which has a sign next to it saying Emberbeard's artisanal blacksmithing. The artisanal was misspelled in common and then scratched out and then reprinted in dwarven correctly. And then next to it is William. Would you please introduce yourself and your character?
I'm William, and I am playing Baldrin Ironhand, Master Smith, Hill Dwarf, Cleric of the Forge Father, Forge Domain. And I am standing in my shop, which is Ironhand's Masterworks, and which is spelled in Common and Dwarvish correctly both times. And I am standing at the forefront, just hawking blades, hammers, shields, armor. If I haven't got it in my shop, I can smith it in no time. Come, buy my wares.
And if the reason he hasn't had it in his shop for a while is because it broke against my armors, come, Imberbeard's armor's the best armors you'll ever find, says the competing dwarf right next to him.
Yes.
You're familiar with Ragnar Imberbeard. He is a very jovial dwarf. Big, long, red, like full classic dwarven beard. Singed all throughout because he often gets it into the forge when he's smithing, but which is hence the name Emberbeard. And the two of you have had sort of a friendly rivalry going on where you'll be doing your calls out and he'll be doing a call out immediately after yours, undercutting yours the entire time. Fairly friendly. There's an obvious
Don't trust this fool's armor. Last time they were put to the test, my hammer dented his breastplate like a piece of paper.
Oh, aye, but that's only because your hammer had the sharpest edge to it I've ever seen a hammer on it. Don't ask this man for a smithing utensil. He'll hand you an axe and tell you to forge your armor with it. And this whole conversation's been going on the entire time. And while this conversation is happening, there is a ASMR wandering through the streets, sort of looking at the various wares. Mara, would you please introduce yourself and your character?
Yes. My name is Mara. And I am playing Hope, ASMR rogue / barbarian, and she has like grayish blue kind of skin and grayish blue kind of clothes, and it's all sort of designed to make her not stand out in a crowd. So she's just, watching the area to see what's going on.
Well, right now there's a pair of very fiery dwarves arguing over whose gear is better in the marketplace.
They do that a lot.
They do, indeed.
Yeah, I'm steering clear of that. You can't, it's hard to hide a piece of armor underneath things to steal, so I'm steering clear of that.
Also, dwarves are notorious for keeping an eye on their merchandise.
Yeah.
And lethal
I may
if
have
you try
tried
to steal
once.
from them.
Well, and interestingly enough, there is a louder racket happening in the marketplace, which draws both your attention, and we lost Aaron's video, which draws both your attention and the attention of the dwarves. As Jeremy, would you introduce yourself and your character as she is getting kicked out of a door?
Okay. I'm Jeremy. I am playing Selena, who is a fire genasi. She is a wild mage sorceress. She is the first thing that you would probably notice about her, besides obviously the red skin and everything that's sort of goes along with the genasi heritage. She's got basically all of her features are red. With the exception of eyes, blue eyes. But the first thing that you would sort of know, chaos just kind of converges around her everywhere. There's just that sort of sense about her. She is dressed nobly in fine clothes. She has a sort of emotional presence of sort of good-natured, friendly, very outgoing, but you can never really tell which way that's going to turn or how quickly. It's very fickle.
And currently, a lot of chaos is surrounding her. As
yes.
As a backpack, presumably filled with her clothes and items, is being thrown into her face, along with a pot that was presumably filled with water as the water comes cascading out. And the dialogue being heard is something that I don't think any of you know the language of.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it sounds very much like if you were to speak Elven with your head underwater. and as this just tirade of, even though you don't understand the words being used, you can tell it's verbal abuse as a water genasi, a tall blue, just as blue where Selena is red, fairly beautiful woman is just shoving her out of a door and just singing off a string of this aquatic elvish at her and throwing things.
There is just as much going back as Selena is picking everything up in Ignan, in fire elemental tongue. A couple things get pulled out and then thrown back in with the you could probably sort of pick up like, no, this was yours. Only they're all very heavy and perhaps pointed things, not full on weapons, but yes. So
this exchange is currently happening, as the two of you switching scenes a little bit once more. Corbin, Cody, why don't you go ahead and introduce your character first, and then we'll set the scene.
Okay. So I'm playing Corbin, a human battle master. He's in his late 20s and very unkempt. His hair is pretty clean cut, but his beard is pretty unkempt, and he's in simple leather armors, and he's probably about what did I have him at? Yeah, he's fairly large. He's 6'1", so he gets everybody's attention when he walks into a room, and occasionally he has a temper.
So this morning, the news had been received that the southern gate was barred from passage for all people, both into and out of, and there was an explanation given, but that information sort of set the leader of the Lionheart Guild, the Lionheart Adventurers Guild, off, especially knowing that it came from High Captain Lorian of the Cornite Rangers. And you are currently sort of marching behind, not marching like formally, but walking with purpose behind the head of the Lionheart Adventurers Guild, Tithian Leonholt. Tithian is a tall man. You're fairly tall. And he matches you right next to it. And now I'm hearing myself echoing somewhere. Oh, I know why. Anyways, I've completely been thrown off my thing.
Tithian Leonholt, who matches you in stature.
I can't. Sorry, I'm hearing myself echoing back, and it's
Speech jamming himself.
Yes, exactly.
Take your headphones off and talk.
Yeah, I should do that. There we go. Do this so that it doesn't bother the people watching until Sarah gets back and puts her headphones on. So Tithian Leonholt, who matches you basically for stature and size, and is a fairly large for an elf, and the leader of the Lionheart's Adventurers Guild, is striding into the town square towards the headquarters of the Cornite Rangers, with the intention to speak with High Captain Lorian about this issue, because basically locking off one of the gates puts a bit of a damper on the guild, because that means that now it's going to add days, if not weeks, to any commissions that are heading south. Because the city is gigantic, and it takes that long to exit the north gate and circle around. There are only two functioning gates currently, the north and south, because the west gate leads into an empty abyss, and the east gate leads into the Tower of the Gods. So if you're doing commissions anywhere to the north or south, you have to take one of those gates. So this sort of rightfully has a good majority of the Adventurers Guild irritated, and so he, yourself, and a few others are heading, currently passing through the city to head towards the headquarters of the Cornite Rangers. And at roughly the same time, it's roughly noon, the caravan carrying Nyx and Five comes into the center of town right as the door that Selena got thrown out slams shut finally, cutting off at least half of the argument.
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
Boldrin and Ragnar have sold a couple more of their wares, and High Captain Tyrion, who has come to meet this caravan, and Tithian meet in the center of town. So, for those of you who aren't as familiar with him, Tithian again stands at a little over 6 feet tall, wears almost perfectly polished black armor with red trim and dragon insignias on the gauntlet's belt, and flowing down the back of his cloak. He is a tall, high elf with blonde hair, short cut in sort of a military fashion, wielding a large spear that he sort of uses as a walking stick more often than not. He is fairly... he's an elf, so you can't really tell how old he is, but it is known he's been around for a long time, because the Adventurers Guild has been around for a long time. Opposite him is High Captain Lorien, the leader of the Cornite Rangers, who has come to meet their captured cargo. He is a human who is slightly shorter than Tithian, and obviously in that case also slightly shorter than Corbin, but much more broadly built, where he is short but stout, and wearing armor that is almost wolfish in nature. It's sharp edges and flowing curves, ending with sort of a claw-like gauntlets that cover his hands, and a flowing cloak that has the symbol of the Cornite Rangers down the back. He's a human. He's very obviously human, but again, he has been around for longer than any of you that have been in the city, and longer than anybody that was born in the city can remember, and yet seemingly unaffected by the rigors of age. Where Tithian carries a large spear, Lorien has a large greatsword on his back that has a sort of a wolf motif built into the handle and blade. And as these two sort of meet in the center, there is an instant argument, and as they begin to argue, the rest of the square goes silent. As two of the basically major defenders of the city get into another one of their almost like married couple-esque squabbles that seems to happen more often than not. You hear Tithian complaining about the fact that they've closed the southern gate. You hear Lorien trying to explain that there were rumors of hostile forces to the south, of suspicious people operating near the abyss in the forest. They had to verify what it was, indicating over to the cage, Tithian indicating to the cage and saying, all I see is this part is particularly clear, all I see is a scrawny young man in a robe and an unconscious woman. What are your rangers even doing for the defense of our city? And this going back and forth, and then they sort of reach a natural stopping point in their argument, and everything goes quiet. And you all notice the silence as something is making sound. But it's not a sound any of you, except for one of you that is conscious in a crate, is familiar with too terribly much. Roughly this time, 5, you're coming to consciousness, and you're sort of confused. You definitely don't know where you are, but you know you're in a cart that is caged with another person, and you notice that it is eerily quiet, except for this sound that seems almost like if the wind was made of bees. This soft buzzing sound that flows like wind. This static, this energy. And you all sort of instinctively look first to the tower. Even 5, you've never been here before, but your eyes are just immediately drawn to this massive tower that pierces the sky off to your right from where you are in the cage. And you see this column that just punches into the sky that you've never seen before. But then your attention is drawn back the other way, to the west, where you know the abyss lies. And over the wall, you see these tendrils of black mist roiling up higher than they've ever gone before and pouring over the side and into the ground and flowing into the city.
Nyx just looks so much more relaxed than he has this entire journey here.
Well, that doesn't look good.
Selena finally decides to speak in common. Oh, fuck me. Foam! As she's...
Boldrin reaches behind him and grabs Siegebreaker off of the stand that it's been sitting on.
What does Siegebreaker look like, for those of us that don't know?
So Siegebreaker is a massive cylindrical weapon. It's hard to say exactly what it is to those of you outside of the game. It looks like it was made as a hand cannon, or rather a cannon, handheld cannon, as two hands, that is simultaneously a bludgeoning weapon. It is equal parts maul and gun, but for some part of it is not quite. It almost looks like it's been incomplete. What has the beginnings of a cannon rifling in at the end of it has been filled in, or like it was never quite carved out yet. But it has this almost not quite finished look of a if a gun blade was instead of a gun a warhammer.
And as you reach it, Ragnar just sort of looks over at you, looks back over there. I think I'm going to go ahead and close up shop. And he grabs the sign, turns it around, closes it, and walks away. As you all notice, sort of like the civilian populace around you has started to very rapidly thin out. And the attention of Tithian and Lorien and the adventurers and that are there with Corbin and the Cornet Rangers that are there with Lorien sort of all turn to the west. And then almost before anyone can really react, those tendrils that had been so slowly moving before just burst forward with speed. And this blackness surrounds the courtyard, trapping all of you within it, forming this swirling sphere, almost dome-like, as it starts to reach up and above, encapsulating all of you within this area.
Yeah, weapons are out. Yep.
Oh yeah, shield's off my back.
The tendrils from it slither down, almost like snakes without teeth, and touch the ground. And wherever they touch the ground, they begin rapidly swirling and growing dense and forming substance and matter. And I want everybody, except for 5, to roll me a intelligence saving throw. Or a history check, whichever one's better for you.
History's better than for me.
Huh.
20. This is my shit.
17.
16.
Both.
I got a
Not
+1
terrible.
and I rolled pretty good.
19.
So, Mara, I think we need to adjust your character sheet so you're not always rolling advantage. If you go to the if you go to the gear section of the character sheet, you can turn that to a toggle. All right. But so Boldrin, you don't know with your history. Okay, so we have a 16 history for Boldrin, 16 intelligence save for Hope, 20 for Nyx, 17 for Corbin, 19. So all of you, Nyx will leave off what you know for a second, but the rest of you are sort of familiar with this. These are commonly referred to as creation storms, where basically some event happens that gains the attention of the abyss, and it just roils up and creates a bunch of stuff at the same time. Typically, it only creates one thing, two thing here, there, along the edge somewhere. But for whatever reason, at this point, it has just decided, you know what, we're going to dump a bunch of stuff here.
Sweet. I already have my produce flame, flame in my hand waiting.
Nyx, you know that whatever causes this is tied to a couple of different things. Typically, whenever something massively bad happens, it like say a village is caught on fire and burns to the ground, then the abyss will respond almost as if it's trying to replace what's been lost. It never does; it just creates more stuff. But it typically responds to a massive event of some kind that causes an imbalance, a perceived imbalance in sort of what the abyss sees as the world is currently. You've seen this happen a couple of times before, just typically not in a public place like this. And as these tendrils connect and solidify, you see sort of what looks almost like ice formed into humanoid shapes. And you recognize these shapes. Not necessarily the texture that they currently are, but you recognize goblins, and hobgoblins, and ogres, and orcs, and a wide variety of monstrous creatures that, just in this particular instance, are made of ice instead of flesh. They don't seem to be moving quite yet, but as these things are spawning, you hear Tithian Tithian off to one side. Lionhearts, spread out. Make sure these don't go anywhere too far. And the adventurers, and presumably Corbin as well, draw their weapons and sort of spread out into a more defensive position. And on the other side, Lorien ranges to me as he draws his great sword, and the rangers leave the cage and come sort of flank him, spears drawn. And these frozen sort of ice sculpture statues crack. And then shatter. And underneath the ice is the very real flesh of goblins, hobgoblins, and ogres, none of whom look particularly happy, and I'm going to need all of you to roll me some initiative as we move to our battle map.
Fun.
Oops.
There's hope.
Yoink.
I haven't
15.
clicked on my thing yet. I have 14.
Well, let's go ahead and get our turn order ready. As you see, to one side, a trio of ogres that it looks like these adventurers have planned on sort of moving towards. To another side, another trio of ogres that it looks like Lorien has plans for. And then to the south, a shit ton of goblins.
So I will Tides of Chaos for advantage on my initiative.
First of all, you can all readjust yourselves accordingly, however you think you would have been repositioned, except for the two in the cage, obviously. That house is the one you got kicked out of.
Okay,
Selena?
that's pretty accurate then.
Okay. So go ahead. You've initiated Tides of Chaos. Go ahead and give me a initiative roll with advantage. There you go.
I mean,
Who do we
glad
have?
I gave myself a wild surge for that.
I mean, roll with advantage. See if you.
I don't know. It was click to roll. Oh no, initiative doesn't automatically.
Yeah, you have to roll again.
It might be a
Hope.
So my first roll for those at home was a 20. So.
Yep. It was a very nice roll. All right, and so now I get to add a bunch of stuff to the initiative tracker.
Did not add my initiative.
Is your initiative out there?
No, it's not.
I fixed mine
Yeah.
because it didn't add up first.
And now the DM just has the ability to say, "You wild surge," and then you get Tides of Chaos back.
I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
First level spells are higher, and I'd already thrown up my produce flame.
Yes.
So
and
get one before I get fucked with.
the next first level spell or higher you cast will be a wild surge roll.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hooray!
All right, Boldrin, what was your initiative?
14.
Alright, so let's see what the... Why? Okay. I don't know why it's being a little fussy, but it is. Let's see what the goblins roll for initiative. As I try to acquire information.
I'm assuming those gray-skinned things are orcs.
No, those are hobgoblins.
Okay.
All you see, so as the fog lifts, a lot of these creatures sort of break to the sides and don't engage in the center. The rest sort of forming themselves in the center. So the goblins are going on a 14. Our hobgoblins are going on an 11. Wait, hang on. That should not be to you guys. That should be whispered to me. Always whisper rolls. This is also a good time to check that.
Well, you also said it out loud right after you rolled them.
It's true. Well, no, but the initiative is known information. Other rolls they make aren't known information.
Ah.
So, and the ogres. And these so just as a descriptive, these ogres that you're seeing are who rolled a 0 on their initiative. They're going last. These just massive hulking creatures that have sort of long braided hair going down their back and big, like, sort of crudely maintained beards and just massive clubs on sort of in their hand, sort of staring down. They look almost like giants, but not big enough, and way too fat. I mean, they are giants, but not like
They're
giants.
giantish. They're not.
They are
giants.
giant kin. They're not giants. And then we have Tithian, who will be the adventurers will be acting on his initiative. He rolled a 16. And Lorien, for whom the Core Knight Rangers will be acting, he rolled a 19. So, we have our initiative here, ready to go.
The goblins and I are tied. My dexterity is 14.
Their dexterity is 14. What's your intelligence?
My intelligence is 12.
You're going first.
Okay.
Their intelligence is 10. So, at the top of the order, we have Selena.
Alrighty. So I am going to chuck my flame at... What's my range on that? 30 feet. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to chuck the flame at this first goblin right in front of me.
All right. What is it?
And that is... I rolled a 15 to hit.
All right. That's going to hit. Roll damage.
For 1 fire damage.
You deal 1 fire damage to that goblin.
Okay. Boink.
It's hurting.
I believe that is my... Throwing it counts as my action, so movement.
I'm actually going to do this so that people watching at home aren't seeing all my stuff.
And then for my movement, I am going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
All right.
25, 30.
So Selena runs up. So Selena throws a little ball of fire that Selena had previously created at a goblin. It goes. Pff, the goblin goes. Looking up at Selena. who then goes, right, and immediately runs back to behind the adventurers who are
That
to the
is
north.
100% accurate, even with the right.
It is now High Captain Lorien and the Ranger's turn. So Lorien, you all see him, again, this blade drawn, and he just sort of dashes with preternatural speed as he runs past his Rangers towards this trio of ogres on the right-hand side of the battlefield. He runs up towards the center ogre and just lets loose with his great sword, swinging it massively over his head and down at the ogres in question. Let's see how well he does. Well, a natural 1 first is a real great roll for one of the NPCs.
I've lost a little bit of respect for High Captain Lorien.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't have any to begin with.
Oh my god.
Wow, he rolled 2 natural 1s in his 4
Wow.
attacks.
Whoa.
Fortunately, the other 2 hit, so...
Well, it's because I'm part of a rival guild. Not so much guild, but yeah.
1. So he runs up and swings his sword 4 times. You don't really see it impact any of the 4 times, but 2 large gases just erupt off of the side of this ogre as it sort of staggers back from the force of the blows, taking a ton of damage. Hang on. I just noticed a problem.
The damage.
Oh well.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes, you are supposed to see allied rolls.
Ah, okay. Good deal.
Allied rolls you see because you guys can influence your allies' rolls via abilities that you have. Enemy rolls are the ones you don't see. I'm going to mark that here then. Okay, there we go. Okay. His rangers then follow behind him, spears at the ready, and charge into this mass of ogres to assist him with them. They make their attacks. I'm gonna come up here in a second. I have too many things that I have to handle. Anyways. Da-da-da-da-da. Well, 2 of them miss, the rest of them hit. And the ogre that Lorien had been wailing on goes down. And the other 2 have taken an amount of damage off of them. Which then makes it Hope's turn.
Alright. I am going to use my action to dash up to this goblin right here. Say, I've always wondered if abyss creatures just sort of smell like fish because you're from an ocean, right? So I'm really curious. And then I'm gonna slash then I'm just gonna rage as my bonus action.
All right.
Because that seems wise, because things are gonna start hitting me.
You run up, harass this person, and rage.
Yep, exactly. And her raging, she sort of slouches most of the time, and her rage, she stands up, and she's fairly tall-ish. 5'9". So she just stands up full height and takes out the swords. She got twin swords.
They're not there.
And that's my turn.
All right. So, yeah, this ASMR just sort of runs up, draws weapons, says some stuff to a goblin,
Uh-huh.
and then hulks out.
Yep.
Which makes it Tithian's turn. So, Selena and Corbin, you see Tithian sort of rise up, because he's right next to you guys. And Boldrin, you're sort of paying attention to him, so you see it as well. As he rises up and just sort of grips his spear a little bit tighter, straightens his back, and as he does, this sort of aura of flame envelops him, starting at the chest and then sort of radiating out, going around to his back, and then it sort of spreads out into a pair of fiery wings, which he then uses to fly over your heads, landing in front of these three. And as he calls back over his shoulder, "Take the ones to the south!" he slams his spear into the ground, and an erupting cone of fire just blasts out of his spear, enveloping all three of these ogres. And let's see how much damage he does with that. This is your introduction to major characters fight. So they have to make dexterity saves. They fail horribly.
Because they're ogres and they can't do dex things for shit.
They certainly cannot make a DC 24 dexterity saving throw.
Hawk.
Not without a natural 20.
And all three of them are engulfed in flame and die, as
Show
he
off.
deals 82 points of damage to all three of them.
It's a lot of ones.
Say that.
Yep.
Hope says that.
It's a lot of dice.
Yeah, that's a lot of dice.
And so he slams his spear into the ground after leaping over you guys. This roaring inferno erupts forth, spreading over the three ogres that are left. And you know that this is one of the directions that a bunch of orcs and other things ran off in. And as he slams the spear down, engulfing them, he picks it back up and starts very purposefully walking past the inferno in that direction.
Bye, Sephiroth.
Sephiroth don't use a spear. And that makes it Corbin's turn. The adventurers who were told to head south to help out Hope.
Yeah. I was already going to head south anyways because I realized that we didn't have anybody there. So Corbin's going to turn, run to right here. As his action, hit this goblin with the spear. 14.
A 14 hits.
Does 9 points of damage.
Yeah, you... Oh, wait, no, you rolled to hit again.
Oh, yep, I did. Whoops.
Click the name. There you
7
go.
points of damage.
Yeah, you just run up with that spear and jab it into the throat of this goblin, who's still, like, sort of, the explosion that just happened off to one side sort of drew their attention, and this goblin's sort of looking over there going, ah! And just a spear through the throat, and you pull it back out and it collapses to the ground.
And as my bonus action, I'm going to set it to receive a charge. Let's see. From the ogre.
All right.
So yeah. So yep,
you,
as soon as
you just walk over very casually, jab spear into throat, pull back out as goblin collapses. You then set the spear, preparing for that ogre. All right. That makes it Goblin's turn. So the goblins.
My turn.
That's right. That makes it Boldrin's turn because Boldrin goes before the goblins.
Yeah, so I'm going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And I just reach and grasp the holy symbol around my neck. Forged on the anvil of war, I call upon the smith's hammer, mace of the All-Father, and I cast, and there's this dance of divine lightning across my frame as I cast spiritual weapon, the giant smith's hammer forming right in front of the ogre. That is this ogre directly here.
Yep. I will even try to find you a thing for that.
Yeah, it's a blacksmith's hammer.
Which ogre? The one immediately south of you?
Yeah. Make attack with the spiritual weapon. As a 20 to hit.
20 hits. Oh, look, I happen to find a hammer.
9 force damage.
I'm just going to give this to you. Boom, there you go. You have control of that hammer.
Yay.
Yeah, so this hammer just socks the ogre one in the face and reaches up, grabs the face, cocks it to one side.
I look over my shoulder. What's the matter, Ragnar? Knock out the stones for a real fight. And I 2, 3, 4, 5 for my dash.
You hear Ragnar in the back as he's walking away. You realize I'm like 100 years older than you. I'll leave this to the young'uns.
Sounds like elf talk.
You did 9 damage to that?
Yep.
Alright. That doesn't transfer over. It doesn't get... Okay, so... that makes it the goblins' turns. So, goblins begin pouring... The goblins sort of snap to, and as these hobgoblins behind them just... Rah! Rah! Sort of yell at them in goblin. I don't know if any of you speak goblin. Yeah. They sort of yell at them in this guttural language, indicating that, and indicating forward, almost whipping them on. These goblins sort of, realize what they're doing and then charge forward. You said you were set to receive a charge from the ogres.
From
right?
the ogre. Yeah.
So these guys, who on the one hand weren't really given a direction, they run up and start attacking the horses and the carriage. I'm going to zoom this out so everybody else can see a little bit what's going on. So, we've got 2 attacks going on Corbin and 1 attack going on Hope. Sorry, 1 attack going on Hope and 1 attack going on Adventure.
Okay.
Okay.
As I pull up my goblins who suck at hitting things. Because they're goblins.
Goblins can get lucky.
However, this one does critically hit Corbin. So, Corbin, you take...
Like I said.
You take 6 points of slashing damage as this goblin sort of realizes what it's doing and just runs up and just stabs at you, sort of leaps up at you, and you were prepared for the ogre, not the goblin, so this goblin is just sort of suddenly airborne coming down at you with his... It's called a scimitar. It's really a ragged stick with a bit of metal attached to it. Just stabs into up and down into your collarbone area. Just blood splurts out all over its face, and it bounces back off, landing on the ground.
I'm just gonna look at it out of the corner of my eye and just shake my head at it.
Another one comes up after it, but you trip it with your spear, and it just sort of hits the ground.
Okay.
1 on the adventurer, who blocks it handily, and 1 on Hope. What's your AC, Hope?
11.
This hits you. You take 8 points of slashing damage. Your raging reduced to 4 as this goblin just and slices at you sort of along the stomach line.
Oh, that's cute.
And you sort of look down at your abs, which have been injured. That makes it 5's turn. 5. You have woken up. Weird shit has been happening, and now there's a goblin rattling the cage that you're in, trying to get at you.
How far is the goblin from me?
Within arm's reach.
And is a goblin flammable?
You don't know. You've never tried.
Alright, I will reach out and grab the goblin's arm and ignite.
Alright, so what is that, a spell or is that an ability?
It's an ability. It just says you can magically ignite a flammable object you touch with your hand.
Alright, so you reach out and grab this goblin, and it's sort of it was sort of shaking the bars, and you reach out, touch it, and it goes... as it's what little it has in the realm of clothes and hair suddenly catches on fire, and it just lets go of the thing. It doesn't look like it's hurting it as it starts to pat itself out, but it definitely made it move away.
And then I will just continue to sit there.
All right.
Phoenix Soul Sorcerers are hilarious.
Hobgoblin's turn. The Hobgoblins are going to move up to reinforce the things that they told to do things previously. This one goes up to over here. This one moves up to over there. This one gets up to there. This one gets up over there. That one over there. And this one over here. They make attacks. Alright, so, one adventurer sort of takes a sword to the kidneys, but doesn't seem too terribly perturbed by it. What is your armor class, Corbin?
16.
Alright, so a 20 does hit you.
Yeah,
And you take 5 slashing damage. So these two larger goblinoids with blue skin sort of trudge around the smaller green goblins, right these long, jagged blades that they've got, and just come in from behind, getting you in the side and getting another adventurer in the side as well. That makes it Nyx's turn.
Okay, few clarifications.
Mm-hmm.
First, do I have my spellcasting focus?
What is your spellcasting focus?
I had this up before. It is a totem.
We'll say no, but it is in the cart that you're in.
Okay.
And you haven't been bound in any way. You were just thrown in the cage.
Question 2, do I have access to my magic? Because I know I didn't previous to this point to some extent.
Not while you're in the cage, no.
Fuck. Does that include beast shape?
No, it does not.
Okay. Does it look like I could squeeze out of the bars as like a cat or something?
Probably, yeah. They're built for a humanoid shape, and you did just see 5 stick their hand through the bars and light a goblin on fire with some sort of innate ability, so you do imagine that beast shape isn't going to be stopped by this.
I'm gonna turn into a weasel and exude this way.
Alright, so the person trapped in the cage goes... Do you go get your stuff?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Priority 1 is I need at least a portion of my stuff.
So you wiggle out of the cage into the carriage proper and find sort of a bag where all of your stuff has been shoved into, and just sort of, and you can open it up with your little weasel claws.
Yeah.
All right, and so that's what you're doing, which makes it Ogre's turn finally. Unless there's anything else you can do.
Nope.
All right.
I mean,
so the ogres sort of taken aback by the fact that they are not that while they are the biggest things in the area, they are not like they're being killed. They're confused, and they're going to lash out in their confusion. This one sort of pushes past the one that Corbin was set against. Pushes past the spiritual weapon because it doesn't actually impede them.
No, it's not. It's not a physical object.
Yeah, and runs over to try to smash Corbin with a great club. At which point you were set against a charge. So
Does a 15 hit?
a 15 does hit.
Okay, so they take a 2d8 damage because
Go
they
ahead and
take
roll
an
the
extra
damage.
d8 from the charge. So there's that plus another d8. Let me quick. I'll just use this. Oh, so they take 14 points of damage.
All right. Yeah, so this ogre just runs up and you just sort of duck and stab as its great club is coming down at you.
And as it's running, since I hit, I'm gonna use combat superiority. I'm gonna actually use a combat superiority to do another D8 of damage and trip it.
Okay. What does it have to do to resist the trip?
Make a strength saving throw. It's got to beat a 13, which probably wouldn't be.
It rolled a 21.
Yeah. So it just takes another
Do you get a
one of
damage?
these. Another
Another
5
5
damage.
points of damage.
And I'm down.
What's your armor class?
16.
All right, so you nimbly, you sort of get underneath and jab it with the spear, twist the spear a bit to get that extra damage in, pull back out, and nimbly step out of the way as this great club smashes into the ground where you were just standing.
All right.
Meanwhile, the other ogres are attacking the members of the Cornite Rangers. One of them crits. The other one just hits.
That ranger becomes a paste.
They're a little bit tougher than that. And this one bumbles up behind these guys heading towards the carriage. And everyone else is sort of noticing that these guys are converging on that carriage as well. One of these rangers takes takes 21 points of damage, which does sort of stumble it. So you sort of like Baldrin, you're further back. You and Selena can sort of see from around the cart one ogre just colliding with a ranger, and it gets sort of knocked back, but his buddies catch him and bring him back to his feet. And then another one slams down on a ranger that just manages to squeak out of the way of getting crushed completely by it. And that brings it back up to the top where it's Selena's turn.
All right, this is gonna be fun. Let me see to make sure here. Okay, I need to get a little closer.
Yeah, let me pull up the appropriate table.
I'm really glad that at higher levels I get subsequently fire resistance and then fire immunity.
I mean, I did notice that everybody seemed to, all of the PCs kept over 20 feet away from me. Unfortunately, I've moved within that for you. So if I roll that number, sorry. And her goal is to cast Chaos Bolt at that big motherfucker right there.
Well, you do at least begin casting the spell.
Yes.
Which one? Which
Now-
other was it?
The one with the goblins and hobgoblins.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now,
Now-
D100.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
There's no
85.
O's, there is only
Five-
yays.
So as Selena
I'm also okay with that.
Hey,
gears up and launches a magical spell at this ogre, go ahead and roll for your. Is it an attack spell?
Chaos Bolt, yes.
Yeah, it's an attack spell, and the attack determines then its damage.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll your attack.
So that was a natural one.
Fortunately, you were aiming at a crowd of enemies, not a crowd of allies. So
Right.
this bolt of seemingly pure energy sort of-
let's see what it was.
it conjures up.
It would have been a specifically
It was a 6. So-
cold or 6.
Yeah, it was a 6. The first die was a 6.
Then that would be poison.
All right. This sphere of greenish fog cloud sort of is conjured into Selena's hands, and as she prepares to launch it, the cloud just dissipates Selena's hand, passing through it, and then instead 5 Selenas appear flowing in and out of where she's standing.
Psych!
I think it's 5, or is it 4?
Yeah, I think it's 1d4. Let me look at
No.
mirror image.
Yeah, look up mirror image because you just
I
cast
think
that on
it's
yourself.
1d4.
So
It is not in my list of propeller.
a number of Selenas appear in Selena's place.
3 illusory duplicates.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Okay. So familiarize yourself with that spell while we move on to High Captain Lorien, who sees that there is a crowd of people gathering at the cart behind him. "Keep on the ogres, men," he says as he moves to go deal with the goblin horde behind him. And as I try to find his character sheet. Because being a GM for 5th edition, by the way, means you have to have a lot of pages open
It
Yes.
depends on how many enemies you've got.
at all
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, when you throw a small army at us.
I mean, you know.
First session.
Small, diverse army. Multiple variations of allies.
But, all right. He moves back into this area and begins making attacks. Fortunately, all 3 of those hit. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong screen again. All right, and 2 goblins fall down. He moves back into the area of the cart and just swings the blade. And as it swings, 2 goblins suddenly lose their heads. As the hobgoblin also loses its head on the backswing. And he just sort of stands and plants himself between the carriage and the enemies approaching it. His rangers continue to attack the ogre. That's happening. The ogres. That's happening over there, though. And we move on to Hope.
All right, I swirl my blades in my hand, and I'm gonna make 2 slashes at the goblin right in front of me because that hurt and that wasn't nice.
It's true.
So,
it did hurt and was not nice.
Yep. So scimitar, and I get sneak attack on the scimitar. I hit a 22, and short sword offhand, 17. I think those both hit.
Yep, both of those hit. Roll and roll
All
damage.
right. So 8 plus 2
So 10.
and 4
So
plus 2.
on the
And
first
then sneak attack
strike,
damage.
you kill the goblin. Would
Okay.
you like to redirect that second one at the one next to it?
Just sort of like turn into the swing and
Yeah, just
stab.
shoink and then pink.
Yep. hmm
Don't forget your sneak attack damage.
Would you like
And,
to
yeah,
add the
sneak
sneak attack
attack.
damage to the second attack?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just 1.
Fortunately enough, as this Asamar sort of standing amongst the adventurers just cleaves down with a scimitar, slicing one goblin from neck to hip, and as it falls in a almost pleasingly symmetrical fashion, you sort of flip that short sword in your offhand, bring it back around, and just put it through the ears of the other goblin. Pull it back out, and both of them fall down. One in complete form, and the other in 2 parts.
Oh, that's very satisfying. And that's my turn. I will move.
Important question. Do they smell like fish?
No,
Yes.
they do not smell like fish.
Oh, wow.
They smell like
Learned
dank.
something today. We've all learned something. And I continue the swing in a circle around to flank with Corbin.
Off in the distance, you hear more fire and explosions as Tithian's turn passes. Corbin.
Okay, so I am going to... Yeah, alright, I'll do that. I'm going to attack the ogre in front of me. And I'm gonna... No, I'm not gonna try to trip it. So... 17 hits.
That hits.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that. 10 damage. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to second wind.
All right.
So
And as you do that, the other adventurers that were with you circle about and continue their attacks.
I regain 3 hit points.
Yay.
Plus your fighter level.
Oh, plus my fighter level? Okay. So 6.
Wow, the Adventurers Guild is really showing up the Rangers right now.
That's right. That's why I'm talking shit.
As almost all of them hit.
The guy that didn't hit, his name is Gary.
What? I know a Gary. He hits every time.
It's the Gary from Rat Queens.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know about that.
One goblin
that's the
dies,
reference I was
one
making.
goblin
God
dies.
damn it, Gary.
One
I don't
hobgoblin
understand that
dies.
reference.
One hobgoblin's still up, and one ogre's still up over there as the adventurers make short work of their enemies.
I didn't get to kill the little fucker that stabbed me.
Alright, that makes it Boldrin's turn.
Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boldrin just steps up to a flanking position with Corbin on the ogre and strike the hammer upon the anvil of war, forging life into death. 1! And the spiritual weapon swings with the bonus action.
I like that you then start counting. BAM!
It's like the Count from Sesame Street.
How many licks does it take to get to the center
24.
of the Tootsie Pop?
A 24 hits. A 24 does indeed hit these ogres.
11 force damage.
Let me put it this way. If that 10 had been directed at an ogre, not a hobgoblin, it would have hit. Let's put it that way.
And then 2! And swing in with the Siege Breaker.
Alright.
Misses.
6 misses, however. So the spiritual weapon comes in and bangs in the back of one knee, and just causes the ogre to kneel down.
It's always a straight down motion because it's a forging. It's like a forging on an anvil.
Yeah. It comes in down and hits the back of the knee and like calf area, which forces the ogre to kneel down, and so your swing misses because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you suddenly realize maybe I should have swung first because the spiritual weapon has a height advantage.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I didn't swing with advantage because I'm flanking. Fuck.
Oh yeah, you are flanking. Go ahead.
Oh, I should have done advantage. Oh well.
Still missed.
Still miss. No. It was just that the spiritual hammer forced him out of the way. It was all the spiritual hammer's fault. Goblins' turns. Goblins converge in a mad spree on Lorien and begin making swings at him. We have lost video, by the way. On Sarah has has dropped the
connection.
call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah's internet entirely went out.
Oh.
Apparently.
I know that feeling.
See if we can't get her back. In the meantime, we still have things happening. And I will fix the screen in a minute when it's not my turn to make things happen. Goblins, make your attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Not one of them hits.
Well, I imagine his armor class is somewhere around 35.
It's not that high. You can't get armor class that high in 5th Ed.
Yeah, you can.
I tried. No, I'm
just going to let him wear 9 bracers of defense on top of his heavy armor.
They don't stack. So they run up and they just start slicing at him, but none of their blades can really find purchase. They just slicing off sort of along the lines of the armor that he's wearing. And that makes it that would make it Sarah's turn, but Sarah is not here currently, so we're just gonna say 5 is sort of mesmerized watching the dude take all this punishment and not bleed. That makes it Hobgoblin's turn, who one of them attacks Corbin because he's sort of out of options there. Corbin, what's your AC?
16.
16, you say?
I do say.
Well, he misses, so...
I will riposte.
You will riposte, which spends a superiority die to do what?
Basically, if he misses, I get a free attack on him, and it does an extra d8 damage if I hit.
All right, go ahead and make your attack.
So
Does
Use
that
a
co-
reaction to punish someone.
Does that use
Yep.
your reaction?
yes,
Which you still have, so yeah, you're good.
24.
That hits.
So there's that and combat superiority. So 14 points of damage.
And so he tries to swing at you with a sword. You turn around, smack the sword away with the butt of your spear, flip it over your shoulder and stab backwards into the throat of the hobgoblin, pull it out, and the goblin collapses.
Yep, I do the Valkyrie move from For Honor, just whank. Thunk.
It's almost like it's almost like you were saluting with your spear into his throat.
Almost.
And that makes it. And then the other hobgoblins sort of move up to appreciate the goblins' works, but not be able to get in because they're blocking their way. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, looks like we have Sarah back. Or at least in
Hey.
role playing.
And that makes it. Let's see if we get.
It's my turn.
Sarah's not back yet. No, at least on Skype. So that makes it Nyx's turn.
Okay. I am a weasel.
You are.
I am tiny.
You are.
I don't do very much damage, and I don't have a very good 2-hit. Actually, I have a better 2-hit than I do as a mortal. As a normal.
As
Human.
a humanoid.
Weasels are
think,
immortal.
You know exactly what I meant.
No.
So, instead, I'm going to very sneakily go around here and just...
How are you taking your stuff with you?
Oh, fuck. You're a jerk. I
You're
thought
a
you said I
weasel.
could carry my stuff.
You could get to it, yeah, and open up the bag, but you're still a weasel.
Okay, so that I was not clear on that.
Yeah. You got to it. You can't pick it up and carry it because
At
It's
it's
least
a lot
grab
of stuff.
totem? I don't know.
In that case, frick it, I'm not sticking around here for my stuff. I'll just grab my totem in my teeth, and if I can grab my quarterstaff, I will. But
You can grab the
that's
totem.
not
You
a
can't-
priority.
You can grab the totem. The quarterstaff is far too large.
Okay,
Too big
Just
for a
Bite
weasel.
onto that totem.
totem, and then that's definitely an interact. So I've got
Yeah.
my full
Yeah, you do.
action to dash, just getting as far away from here as I can.
Make me a perception check as you hop out of the carriage.
Okay. Ooh, weasels. I have to do that with the weasel stat, but weasels get a thing on that.
Perception? Aren't
Oh,
you...
wait,
Mental
perception
stats
is-
are all...
Mental stats
Yeah,
are all
mental
the same.
stats stay the same.
Mhm.
But I believe the weasels might have a senses thing.
Yeah, weasels have keen senses.
Keen senses will not apply to this roll.
Okay.
Because this is not something that keen senses would help with.
So that's just Nyx's stats. So 13.
So as you jump out of the carriage and hit the ground, you feel sort of a tingling sensation down your back. Make an Arcana check.
Fucker hunters marked me. 18.
It's definitely some sort of divination tracking spell that was applied to you as you dropped out of the cart. Like, you don't think it was any person that did it, you think it was the cart that did it.
Thanks, Sarah.
I don't have any fucking sympathy for the people who abducted me and now are getting attacked by the abyss for
No,
it.
that's fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Just know that you can be tracked right now. You know that you are going to be tracked.
But yeah, I'm just headed generally in this direction away from the conflict.
Sweet. All right.
Um,
You're heading
taking
north.
a dash, I can get reasonably far with 80 feet of movement.
Yeah, you're just heading north. All right. So, welcome back, Sarah.
Thank you.
It's your turn. We're going to jump.
Okay.
Jump back so Sarah can take her turn.
My apologies. Skype decided it was time to update itself, and who was I to tell it not to become a better app?
It's
Nobody, apparently. 5 is just going to sit in the cart. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't really want to get involved. She's
Alright.
going to sit there.
That's fine. That makes it so, Nicola. That makes it the ogre's turn. The ogres are doing their best not to die and failing. Does a 21 hit you, Corbin?
It definitely does.
You take 17 bludgeoning damage.
Hooray!
The other two, however, missed their targets. Congratulations, you're the only one that got hit by the ogres this round.
Yeah. Almost knocked me out.
So yeah, you sort of
I
still
had 18 hit points left.
still congratulating yourself with the good kill on the hobgoblin. You turn and look back at the ogre you were fighting as this great club just comes across the side and picks you up by the chin and just lifts you off your feet as it swings upward and past, and you just bounce up into the air, land back on the ground for a minute, just stunned for a second.
Yeah, woozy. I turned into that one.
Speaking of For Honor, you almost got conquered there.
Yeah.
Head off.
And that makes it Selena's turn.
All right. So, I am going to. That didn't work out so well last time. It worked out fine. It worked out exactly how I intended it to. I am going to. You guys seem to have things pretty well in hand down there, and I don't like that ogre missed or didn't get hit last time, so I'm going to try to hit the same guy that I fired at the first time.
Okay.
Now, go ahead. I won't Tides of Chaos this time. 14.
All right. Go ahead and roll me another d20.
Okay. I need to.
Check the wild magic.
All right.
10.
Nope, the spell is successful and nothing weird happens.
This spell is always successful.
It's true. And a 14 does hit, so go ahead and roll damage.
Because it's after you cast the spell that the surge may happen. Otherwise, why would anybody play a wild sorcerer?
No, it's true. It's true. It successfully hits, I should have said.
Yes, I'm
Roll damage.
trying to. Oh, that's because it's. So that is my choice of either 4. What is it? 4 psychic damage or 7 force damage, and I'll have it do the force damage because more damage is good.
So 11 force damage.
7 force damage.
I thought you roll 2d8 and one of them determines the damage of the
One of
whole
them
thing.
determines the damage, the other one determines the type.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's right.
And you choose which is which.
That's right.
It's a fun spell. And if you roll the same on both, then it arcs to somebody else.
Yep.
Um,
Okay, so 7 points of force damage.
I need to correct you. On a hit, the target takes 2d8 damage.
Yeah, no, I thought it
One
was
of the
2d8
d8s
damage.
determines the type of damage.
Yeah. I'm about to say, I thought they took both the
is-
damage.
oh,
I think you read the spell wrong. It takes 11
Then
points.
It's
of
a
11
fun spell
force.
either way. It's just a fun spell that
well, then
punches.
in that case, it's going to be 11 psychic damage because that's more fun.
Okay. So this ever color changing sphere is summoned from in Selena's hand. Sort of focuses on it for a minute. It
Let's be clear.
coalesces.
The Selena's hands.
Selena's hands. Yes. What did I
All
say?
of the Selena's hands.
Oh yes, all of the Selena's hands. Yes. They sort of focus on it, and it turns a sort of a clear crystalline purple, and then launch this clear sphere of energy that hits the ogre, who then stops, realizes that it's bleeding from its nose and doesn't know why, and continues.
Wonderful. And I am going to because I will probably get charged at some point. I want to give them another target, so I'm running right up next to Mr.
Right.
Emberbeard.
Who is behind his cart currently. He needs to be over here. He's up there.
I mean, close enough.
Yeah. I didn't move him. Alright. That makes it Lorian's turn. Lorian actually is in a pretty good spot. As he...
Is he a ranger with the Horde Queller ability?
No.
Because that would be nice right now.
Yeah, Hordebreaker would be nice.
No, he is not a Hordebreaker, but he does have the ability to... So he, holding the greatsword off to one side, he raises his left hand, and just sort of points a finger straight up, which sort of catches the goblin's attention. And at the tip of his finger, a small bead of fire appears, and he just flicks it out, and it flows a bit of a distance away.
Fireballing.
It flows out to there and explodes in a 20-foot radius.
Okay.
He knows what he's doing. So those of you off to the other side suddenly see a fireball explosion. That completely takes out this row of goblins and hobgoblins. And does a not insignificant amount of damage to the ogre.
DC 0.
Oh, the DC is incorrect. It's much higher than that. Mostly because it's an NPC character sheet, and NPC character sheets are weird.
Yeah.
A fake fireball. It was an
It
illusion.
was an illusion the whole time.
The only way it kills you is if you believe it.
I mean, that's not something in Roll20 that is specific to NPCs. PC character sheets will often show a DC of 0 randomly sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes managing spells for NPCs is particularly hard.
So yeah, fireball went off there, exploded, sort of evaporating hobgoblins, and severely burning this ogre that's still there. And that makes it Hope's turn.
Alright, I'm moving up. And do I have advantage? I don't know what your rules on flanking.
You have to be able to draw a line between yourself and another ally.
Okay,
Through the enemy.
well,
If
okay.
you didn't move, you would still be able to.
So that
Is that- yeah.
kind of does it, but if you were flanking.
Okay, I'm moving up for flavor, is
Okay.
the thing.
That's fine.
We'll see what happens. Alright, so I have advantage and doing the same thing. And scimitar first again. Because we gotta keep going that way. So it's a 23
23 hits.
and short sword.
An 11 also
Yeah.
hits.
Oh,
It's an
okay.
ogre.
Sweet. So that's
Ogre AC is
9
Ogre AC is 9.
plus 4, 13 points of damage.
Plus sneak attack.
And sneak attack.
And sneak attack for 2. So, what did I say? It's 9, 13, 15 total.
So, how do you want to kill the ogre?
Yeah, okay, So, slash across the chest, stab, and then as he's standing there, dumbfounded and bleeding out, I'm just gonna put my finger at the middle of his chest and push so that he falls away from the other people.
Yeah, so those of you
pushing.
around the ogre see this ASMR dash around, leap up, slice, stab, drop, and then look up at it, tilt her head, put the short sword away, reach out, and just... And there's just this... As the ogre falls over backwards.
That's why I moved there, because if I didn't, then the direction that he got pushed would have been at an angle, and that's not okay. So
All right. And you hear one of the adventurers off to the side go, "We should hire her."
and that's my turn.
All right. Tithian
yeah.
is off killing things. Corbin.
That hurt. That also stole my ogre kill. So I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 run to here, and just huck my spear at this ogre right here.
All right, make a ranged attack with it.
Yep. Yeah, my dexterity and strength are the same, so same thing.
An 11 hits.
11.
Roll damage.
8
Yeah,
piercing damage.
you sort of move past the dwarf, clutching your side a bit because you were stabbed in the side and then clocked in the head, so you're a little dizzy right now. And you just lean back, launch that spear, and it sticks in the side of the ogre.
And fuck it, I'll go nuts. I'll action surge and pull off one of the hand axes from my belt and huck that as well.
19 hits.
8.
So, how do you want to kill this ogre?
So I'm assuming he just got hit by the fireball, so he's gonna look that way. A spear is gonna hit him in the back, so he's gonna turn to look at just what just happened to him, and then axe just right to the noggin.
And that's exactly what happens. Like, this fireball goes off, it's confused, looks that way, spear in the back, turns, looks that way, and just as it turns to look, there's this almost this slow motion scene of this axe going end over end. And just right in the face. And it, similar to the other one.
Better not have broke my axe.
You notice that on the other end, the rangers seem to have pretty much finished off those other two ogres. They've sort of... There's like 3 rangers on each ogre hanging off of it with spears deep in them as they collapse to the ground.
Alright. But yeah, that's all I can do.
Alright. That makes it Boldrin's turn.
So Aldrin steps over here, I believe, is 25 feet. No, it's only 15. Okay, so 2 more. And the spiritual weapon moves as far as it can, which is only 20 feet. And still in the middle of his battle chant, just 3, and brings his hand back and thrusts it forward and casts Guiding Bolt, which in his hand is a spinning hammer that soars through the air.
Make the attack. Who are you aiming it at?
At the hobgoblin.
Alright.
18.
18 hits. Roll damage.
13 radiant damage.
This gradient gold hammer and just goes through the hobgoblin's head and dissipates as the head also dissipates. The hobgoblin being dead. That makes it 5's turn. Actually, that makes it the goblin's turn. The goblins sort of realize that they're the only 2 left, freak out and begin to run away, which prompts a reaction from Lorien, who has the ability to use spells as a reaction.
Warcaster.
Yep, he is indeed
yeah.
a warcaster. Who just flicks out his hand, and and the air between the goblins as they step away from him cracks, and you hear this loud sort of shattering sound as he casts the spell Shatter, which good roll.
Somebody dropped a plate
Others.
somewhere.
Yeah, and they make a Constitution save against and fail with a natural 1. And yeah, just these 2 goblins as they step away, the air between them cracks. There's a loud breaking sound, and then they just collapse. And we are officially out of initiative.
And
So I am trying to scamper up a roof in Assassin's Creed as quickly away from here as possible, because out of sight, out of mind, out of them checking that spell thing.
And Baldrin puts his hand down, strike the hammer on the anvil of war, and just puts his weapon on the ground, and the spiritual weapon dissipates.
Selena, yeah, I was still looking at that.
Oh, sorry. It doesn't matter at the moment.
I mean, it kind of does for where I'm at.
Okay.
Because Selena says, is Ragnar completely out of view?
Yeah, he's behind the cart, yeah.
Okay, Selena's trying to steal a dagger from his place.
Okay.
Because chaos and opportunity.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh boy.
Oh, the
Corbin's
question is,
hobbling over.
does the other dwarf see it?
So make a sleight of hand check
Uh-huh.
and make a perception
I
check.
will
Bolford.
give myself advantage on that.
Okay.
You might get past
Natural
me.
20.
Oh.
Why is it every time I give myself advantage, the first roll is a 20?
Just take it as to be the advantage working.
You reach over and just slip a dagger off the table and into your bag.
Perfect.
All right. So we have broken. So as the tension dies down, and you're still hearing fighting in the distance, Lorian looks around, looks at the cage, sees one missing, and just one's loose, and moves, sort of like sheathes the sword, and as the Rangers move to the cage, and then start moving away. I'm going to need Nyx to make me a stealth check, as the others...
That is going to be with the base stats. I was checking.
Yes,
the
yeah.
responses.
Physical things are with the beast stats.
For some reason I thought that like keen senses and stuff I got the benefit of, but never.
You do, but that wasn't something that your senses could help you with.
Yeah.
Um,
Sensing magic it doesn't matter if you have keen senses to detect magic being cast upon yourself. And so as the Rangers head off to the north, Lorian looks at the rest of you. You all have my thanks for your assistance. If you come by the Ranger's office after this whole mess has died down, there will be a reward for you.
Oh, I will be there.
He looks over at
Good.
5, and they weren't supposed to bring back 2 of you. Do you mind talking with me for a bit? See if we can sort this out?
She does not respond and just kind of keeps tilting her head and just existing.
18.
Take that as a yes. All right. An 18. Let's see how the Rangers do. And since they are now enemies of you, technically, you don't get to see what they rolled. Mwahaha.
Oh, so they weren't my enemies when they were pointing bows at me.
They were
My
then.
mistake.
They weren't enemies when they were fighting off the ogres. Now that they're hunting you, they are. Okay. So are you trying to scamper up to a roof, or are you trying to scamper down an alleyway, or what are you trying to do?
Find a nook or cranny that humanoid-sized creatures couldn't reach me at, that sort of thing.
All right, yeah. So
Roof
you
seems the obvious place, but wherever would work given the architecture.
you sort of find like a drainage pipe, and scamper through it, climbing up. It looks like sort of like a rain drain pipe. It's not the cleanest of areas, but you don't really care. You're a ferret, and you sort of
Weasel.
or weasel. It's the same
Weasel.
thing.
It is not.
And pop out the top, and are sort of looking down into an alleyway as the Rangers go past where you just climbed in. Sort of like their spears still out, looking for an escapee, obviously.
Keeping my head down.
Right.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Who's or who are you hunting down exactly? I'm just curious.
Lorian looks back at the cage. Not sure if it's this one, but apparently some folks down south said that they saw what they thought was a abyss-worshipping cultist or somebody up to nefarious intent hanging out in the forest south.
Oh.
Oh, we sent some rangers out to check it out, and apparently they found somebody. This one doesn't have the look of a cultist about them, though, he says, pointing at the singed and otherwise normally dressed ish drow.
Well, I know I, for one, am certainly glad that you're keeping an eye out for such things. It's the last thing we need to deal with.
Right.
Can't
Cart's
trust
not
them
broken.
weasel scouts.
The cart's not broken.
Baldrin begins moving back to his stall and checking up, making sure all of his equipment is still there.
I mean, yours is.
Like I said, you're welcome to all stop by the Coronat Rangers headquarters after all this is settled down, and we'll see about getting you that reward. And I'll see about dealing with Tithian, he says, sort of muttering to himself as he moves over to the wagon and starts drawing it away.
Well, I'd assume the southern gates are open now, assuming you've found who you're looking for. At least
Not
that's what the Rangers brought back.
Over his shoulder, you hear, "Not yet. It's not."
So here's an important question,
Mhm.
which is also why I was looking at. As near as I can tell, the majority of the adventures PCs versus Goblin fight occurred in the general vicinity of where Selena had been.
Mhm.
So how much of her stuff is completely destroyed?
So you look back, and you notice that for some reason, and it may just be a quirk of the whatever it is about you, your bag is completely untouched. It's just off to one
Walks
side.
over.
Like, not even any goblin blood got on it. And there's a lot of goblin blood went flying over there.
Wonderful.
I wander after the cart a little bit. I think Hope would have noticed that none of the bars were broken.
Correct.
Like the cage did not get broken in that fight. And there's a lock, presumably.
Yes, there is.
I'm taking a look at the lock.
Right.
to
You're taking a look at the lock
see-
while Lorian is dragging the cart.
Yeah, I'm just like looking. I'm just curious how that person got out.
All right, make a perception check.
Whoever they were. Yep. Not great at perception. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a good enough look on it. Now make an investigation check for me.
Okay. Much better investigation. 16.
Yeah, so you're sort of like trailing behind the cart,
Mhm.
trying not to be too obvious about what you're doing because you really you don't want to
No.
draw attention to this.
No. Mm-mm.
And you notice that the bars are not very, very. It would have been difficult for a humanoid person to squeeze out through the bars, so you're pretty certain that didn't happen. The lock hasn't been tampered with. You're not. The only thing you could possibly imagine is some form of magic.
All right. I slowly stop walking.
Just do.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, the wagon trundle.
Then I turn around.
All right, Nyx, you're up on a rooftop. What are you doing?
So I can hold this form for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from if it seems like they have a pretty good beat on where I am, perhaps trying to relocate, but probably just sticking to where I'm not.
So they
visible.
are. You're able to see pretty well from where you're at what's going on down the streets below. The Rangers are not leaving the area you're in,
Fuck.
and a couple of them have gone inside various buildings. And you do hear sort of like the call going out, and there are more Rangers approaching the area.
I'm gonna try and sneak to somewhere else.
All right, make me another stealth check.
Selena is
18.
putting her bag on or pack on, and then just starting to make a casual walk around this general vicinity. She has no way of naturally finding this escapee, so she's trying to casually keep an eye out, see if she runs into them.
Make me a perception check with disadvantage.
All right.
What are the rest of you doing? Well, so Hope was following the cart. Selena's heard about an escapee. I'm assuming is trying to ingratiate herself with the guards, and is looking for an escapee.
19 with disadvantage,
you!
motherfuckers.
That was
So
Performance.
Oh shit!
That was performance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're correct.
What would the what would the perception
Subtract
modifier
4 from
be?
that. 15.
Okay, so now you
Never mind.
do not see.
Ah.
You do not
God
see
damn it.
anything. You're looking around.
Small letters.
You recall that there were two. You distinctly recall that there were two forms in the cart.
Mhm.
You don't remember what the other one looked like very much. It was sort of shrouded in a robe the whole time, and so you're not really certain of what it was that escaped.
Yeah.
What are the rest of you doing?
Corbin's
Sitting
catching
in
his
a
breath.
cart.
So
Sitting in a
so 5 is
cart.
not interacting. Okay. Boldrin and Corbin.
Bouldrin is packing up his cart and getting ready to move over to the Cornet Rangers base because he needs a bit more income anyway.
Corbin.
Corbin's just gonna sit on the nearest bench or anything that will resemble a seat, and just kind of catch his breath after he pries the spear and hand axe from the skull and
Yeah, so you go over and you grab the... Blood sprays all over you as you rip the spear out. Similarly, when you rip the axe out.
I'm gonna
You
take
go
a
and
breather and do
sit
my short
down.
rest.
You want to take a short rest? You can
Yeah.
take a short rest, spin your hit dice. As Boldrin goes over, clink, 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 ting, 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 chick, chick. And then next door you see Ragnar doing the same thing. Well, I suppose it's probably time for me to go ahead and get going back up to Underholm. A little too much excitement in the city for me right now.
Too much excitement, not enough ale.
You're correct on both points, lad. Well, I'll be certain to keep a bar stool open for you when you get back to Underholm. If you get back to Underholm, who knows? You might get wrapped up in some sort of crazy conspiracy theory or adventure thing. You know, as so many hard-working dwarves do, and that's the excuse they give for not finishing their work that they're doing. He says, indicating the hammer hanging off your back.
Well, the Forge Father's path is mysterious, and I am but a hammer on his anvil.
Right. Well, good on you. I'm gonna get a beer. And he locks up the cart and wanders off to get a drink before he actually heads back. Hope. So you stop following the cart.
Uh-huh. Yep, I stopped. I'm just sort of watching it go, and they're
Turns a corner.
taking. Yeah. There's a weird cultist on the loose. That's weird. I might know a faster way to get to the. They're going to the Rangers headquarters, right?
Yeah, they're going to the Rangers headquarters. It's over by the.
Do I know a
Triumphant building.
faster way to get there? And-
Yeah. I mean, there's you're not carrying a cart, so
Mhm.
you can definitely get there quicker.
Uh-huh. And what was your name? I'm trying to remember character names.
Lorian.
Nope. Not Lorian. Selena. You're not
Yep.
near me, are you? You were looking around.
I mean, she's doing it. She is starting centrally, and she's going to make a slow wander. So at this point, probably still. Yes. She's probably still
Hey.
within sight.
Hey, you! The one with the fireballs.
Yes.
The flame things and the bright, shiny, distracting objects.
I'm good with
You wanna go find out?
How
You want
long
to go
does
find
my-
out about a cultist?
I mean,
Come on.
there would be Why not? Why not? I'm just curious to see what's going on.
All right, let's do it. I'm gonna try and find a way to get back there faster than the cart is, and find some place to spy on, like if there's a place where they usually do like interrogations.
Okay.
Find like a window to just sort of, sneak under and listen in.
So and if you're following Hope, you both get there pretty quickly. Like
Okay.
The city is large, but it takes a lot longer to get from one side of it to another with a cart than it does on foot.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys manage to get there pretty quickly before the cart arrives. Make me an investigation check, both of you, if both of you are looking for a good spot to sit.
All right.
Okay.
Oop. Nope.
You just sit down in the middle of the street.
18.
So,
I'm ready!
So Hope, you're like, the best place to sit would be inside. Inside would be the best place to sit.
Yeah.
And you sort of start walking, and Serena, you realize that probably there's not like open windows on the front of the headquarters. It's all solid brick.
Yeah.
Selena, you figured that you're probably not going to be able to sit outside and find out information that they're talking about on the inside. At the same time, if you were to go in, it probably would be suspicious and awkward.
Not if you said there's no windows on the front. Are there windows
Correct.
on the back?
Not that you can tell. It seems like it's sort of a solid construction building with
There's no windows anywhere?
on the ground floor. No. There are
That's
windows,
fine. I don't need the ground floor.
There are windows further up. It looks like it's about a 3-story building. There's windows like on the second and third story.
Okay.
It's not on the first.
So I don't believe I can. I need windows. Nope. Or I don't need first
I don't
floor.
need
Well, it depends
windows.
how-
You just make them.
I need windows. I need first floor. I don't need first floor. That depends. How tall are the stories? You always have to ask when it's a fantasy.
It's about 12 feet between floor and ceiling.
So I am going to gamble a little bit and hope that I'm teleporting into a room that I don't know or that
Oh
there's
no.
nobody in.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, I can only teleport myself. But she looks over, winks, and I'm casting Misty Step.
Okay.
Motherfucker.
So read to me what Misty Step does.
Surrounded by silvery mist, you teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Doesn't say it has to be on the ground, so as long as I
that's
can
true.
see space.
That's true. You can see space.
All right.
You and you find yourself in what looks to be an armory of some kind.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh.
Is there anybody in here with me?
Not currently. The door is closed. There are weapon racks sort of like lining the walls and armor like stands as well, and it looks like this is part armory, part locker room. There's some like personal bags and belongings on off to the side as well, and a closed like an oaken door closed in front of you.
There's not much I can do in terms of finding out more information, so I'm just gonna start rifling through the personal belongings.
All right, make me an investigation check.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
Valuable things.
Okay.
Drugs.
Drugs would be good too.
Black tar, heroin.
21.
Drugs are
All right.
valuable to some people.
All right.
Things of value, things that I could use to my personal advantage.
Okay. So you find, first of all, about 15 gold worth of coins, of various various coppers, silvers, and gold. More coppers and silvers than actual gold, but about 15 gold
I'm
worth of
putting them
stuff.
down all as gold.
Yeah. You find a couple of gemstones. You find sort of a opaque mottled blue gemstone. You find sort of a gray blackish one, another slightly more light blue with bits of yellow flecks in it.
That's
Just-
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of, not a lot.
Couple is 2.
Couple
3
of.
or more is few.
It's true. However, I'm the game master. I could have the door open and you be arrested immediately. Stop arguing with me.
It's a couple. Okay.
Couple of, yes. And you find a leather-bound deck of cards.
Oh
Do
no.
do they have naughty pictures on the back?
Right now, they're bound in leather.
Okay.
Oh,
I
thought you meant
pocket-
I thought you meant the box was bound in leather. Never mind.
I pocket all of that. I am not going to go out that door because that leads to certain imprisonment.
Okay.
And I will use my second level spell to Misty Step back out.
Roll me a d20.
I was waiting for just a second. I mean, in the interest of fairness, I should point out you have a wild surge already charged.
Oh, I do. That's right. You did use it. Go ahead and roll me on the wild search table.
Uh-oh.
94. I am now, but I did teleport still.
You did
You
teleport.
teleported
still.
first.
You did teleport first. So you, and when you reform, you are large. You are now a large creature instead of a medium-sized creature.
So from 5'3", how tall am I now?
You went from 5'3" to 12'6". And,
Okay.
Oh boy.
And you sort of appear as this 12-foot tall creature, and you suddenly get a lot of attention looking your way as
Fine.
guards sort of look out and look at you and
I smile and wave.
look to where you came from because the mist is visible. The
It
mist
doesn't
moves.
say that the mist moves.
Does it not?
No, it says, and I quote, briefly surrounded by silvery mist, you teleport up to 30 feet to an occupied space that you can see.
Yeah, it's more like the mist surrounds you and then
Okay.
you vanish.
Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
So
So yeah, just they sort of look at you confused.
I shrug.
They make insight rolls.
Hmm.
Make me a deception roll.
24.
Ooh.
They look at you confused, but they don't look like they're going to do anything because you didn't actually break any laws. And
I'm like, chaos
they're
happens
just
sometimes.
confused.
So I get down to a knee, so I can not be shouting down to open. Like I couldn't see anything. Unfortunately,
see anything, unfortunately.
and I am whispering, so I know that it's still a little
Giant ball
but-
of chaos. This is gonna work well.
louder.
And at about this time, shrink back down.
Dunk. Okay. Ugh.
Does that happen often to you?
It's yes, but it's a good thing. It's fine. While I'm down here, no, I'm kidding. And she stands up. So I don't think we're going to be able to get a good view in there. I'm more interested in the escapee.
Yeah. I was hoping that listening in would give us some sort of indication of where they might have gone.
I think
still
our
looking, though.
only real. He was kind of talking as if the person who was in there didn't really have anything to do with it, though.
True.
So let's see
start
what we
looking
can
around.
find. Yep.
And roughly as you guys finish that conversation, you see Lorian coming around a corner with the cart.
How long does it take for my cart to get there? Because I'm not like moving with an entourage. I'm just one person in a cart.
Yeah, no, it'll take you a while to get there as well. Roughly the same amount of time it took Lorian to get there. Because you're still moving with a cart.
Yeah.
Back to Nyx. So, you have managed to traverse a couple of rooftops, but you do notice that whenever you move, the rangers seem to move with you. Like, you feel like you're sort of just staying out of their peripheral as you're moving.
Spell only lasts an hour. Do I see anyone that's not rangers around?
Yeah, there are other civilians, but they're mostly staying indoors because the city was just attacked by abyss spawn creatures.
Any little kids that might find me cute?
Make an investigation check with disadvantage.
Look, it's been years since I've been in a city, and I kind of got mind wiped, so I'm not sure exactly how this works.
That's fair.
Oh, 2.
Disadvantage,
Sorry.
yeah. No. No young ones, no anything like that. You do, however, notice that there's been an uptick in the amount of rangers around.
Oh, good.
No one else like I recognize or seems more. None of those people that seem to be arguing with the rangers when we started.
Yeah, you probably see a few of them, but they're more interested in making sure that things are locked down and not in, like, sort of getting in the way of the rangers. You do see the man clad in all black armor with the red fringe and cloak and spear walking down an alleyway.
Did he seem like the one that was with the rangers or the other one?
He was definitively the one arguing with Lorian.
Okay.
With the captain of the rangers.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how clear that was.
That was pretty clear, yeah. This is also the one that
might
burst into flames.
If I notice that the rangers are definitely following me, I'm gonna see if I can angle myself head in a direction that leads the rangers into a collision with him.
Okay. Make me another stealth check.
Here's where that natural one comes in.
10.
Okay. So you figure that the best way to sort of lead them in that direction is to actually get down on the ground and go, because he's not staying in alleyways. He's walking down the street. It looks like he just stepped into the alleyway to like cross to another street. And so you get down, go out on the ground, turn, and you get down on the ground and turn to look to the left, and then you look to the right, and as you look to the left, there's nobody there. You look to the right, and there's a bag over you.
Uh-oh.
I hate when that happens.
Okay. Drop my fucking beast shape.
All right, so you suddenly erupt into this cramped bag, which splits at the seams. And you are now mostly covered by the remains of this bag because you popped out the other end.
I can choose to have my equipment come with me. I'm assuming that counts. The cloak would count as such.
Yeah, you're covered by the cloak as well. And yeah, there's sort of 3 rangers there, one of whom that had tossed the bag over you, standing within arm's reach of you.
So this is 2 counts of abduction then. Where is your city's government exactly?
2 of them sort of level spears at you. Well, if you come with us, you'll find out.
I don't deal with thugs.
Do you
Trying
cooperate?
to figure out which of my spells is the more appropriate range. Because, yes, I'm making this difficult.
Sure. And you sort of look over your shoulder as you're contemplating what you're going to do, and you do see Tithian walking past like the other end of the alleyway.
Yeah, and I'm saying this very loudly and very explicitly.
Yep.
It's not showmanship so much as it is the actual truth. But I was saving this for using with the sorcerer character, but you know what? Let's just do it now. I'm gonna cast Warding Wind.
What does that do?
I will just flop it in the chat because I don't have the spell card quite ready yet. But
A strong wind, 20 miles per hour, blows around you in a 10-foot radius and moves with you, remaining centered on you. The wind lasts for the spell's duration. The wind has the following effects. It deafens you and other creatures in its area. It extinguishes unprotected flames in its area that are torch-sized or smaller. The area is difficult terrain for creatures other than you. The attack rolls of ranged weapon attacks have disadvantage if they pass in or out of the wind. It hedges out vapor, gas, and fog that can be dispersed by a strong wind. Alright. That's fine. So you cast this spell, and the rangers do sort of like step back as the wind explodes out from them. And one of them reaches into their bag and produces an item which is flung at you. As I am looking for the description real quick.
I have an idea of what it might be.
Mordenkanon's magnificent prison.
I need to know if this requires a attack roll or if it's a saving throw.
Manners.
I mean,
So that
I
was
wonder if a thrown item calls as a thrown attack.
It does, if it is something that they have to throw.
And if it's not, maybe it's a vapor, gas, etc.
It is a ranged attack roll, so let's see if they can hit you with disadvantage. Yep. So yeah, this sort of 3-inch sphere just flings out at you. And they have disadvantage. What's your armor class?
I'll call it 13.
Well, their higher roll was a 22. Their lower roll was a 14.
Fuck them.
So this wind erupts from out of you, and you sort of get this victorious feeling that you're gonna make this difficult and sort of get away from them. And as you sort of like have your hands out pushing away, this metal sphere like sort of almost comes eye to eye with you and catches your eye. And as it does, it erupts in these sort of iron bands that wrap around you, locking your arms behind you and your legs together, and you just hit the ground.
Seriously? Who lets damaged, dangerous individuals wander around a city, randomly abducting people?
And so Tithian looks, like, sort of stops and looks down the alleyway and just doesn't hear you because there's deafening wind around you.
I know. I don't talk for other people. I talk for myself.
He looks and like sort of sees this person on the ground, wind flowing, and rangers dealing with it. Sighs and keeps walking.
Is this isn't in the vicinity where we were, is it?
Make perception checks, both of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably not all that far away, if I'm being honest, because I did have a second plan.
Apparently I'm terrible at...
Oh man, I almost fuck it. I'm giving myself advantage.
Okay.
Oh no.
Which gives me an 8 with advantage.
Fortunately, it's a DC 5 to notice a loud explosion of wind at an alleyway nearby.
Well, then it's good that I rolled because my other one was a 4.
Yeah, but that would have been your second roll, not your first.
Yeah, I know. It's always the first roll that seems to be the one that's best.
So
Just
yeah.
count it as being advantagey anyway.
So yeah, you both hear this commotion.
So there's a pause, look over at Ope, look back, and start moving in that direction.
Yeah, it
How
sounds
long?
like something.
What's the duration of that spell, by the way?
I think it's concentration. Give me a second. Warding Wind is concentration up to 10 minutes, and no, I'm not fucking dropping it unless they make me.
Yeah, so you guys see this trio of rangers carrying a completely bound individual in sort of like these metal bands, completely locking them and making them immobile and unable to move, and just carrying them out.
I want to make a disputing ruling question.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, carrying someone is encumbered, which is half speed.
Yes.
And the wind creates difficult terrain.
Yes.
They're moving real slowly.
They're not moving very fast.
They would be encumbered if only one of them was carrying you.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
They're still not moving like super fast, but they're moving.
They're moving at half speed.
Once we turn around the corner and see this,
Yeah, you see
I look over at Hope. How many guards are there?
3, 2 carrying the person and 1 leading the group.
Do what you can about the other 2. And I start walking forward with a smile.
All right.
What?
And I'm casting Charm Person.
Okay.
No.
Agent of Chaos.
Roll me a d20.
All right. What? I have to remind you again. You have
already cast the spell. Yes. Roll me a d20.
Okay.
No, he has Tides of Chaos. He has used Tides of Chaos.
I'm reminding you again. I used Tides of Chaos.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, that's right. Yeah, no, roll a d100. Sorry, I messed up. I said the wrong thing. I meant to say roll a d100.
Okay. So 65.
Better at this.
I am
to 3 creatures you.
Person.
Oh
no, up
65.
to 3.
Up to 3 creatures you choose within 30 feet of you take 4d10 lightning damage.
So that's 3 hopefully dead guards.
Oh
Suddenly
no.
chain lightning.
Roll 4d10.
Now we're gonna be on the run. That's gonna be a whole thing.
Chaotic neutral
So-
motherfuckers.
You cast Charm Person, but it doesn't matter because the person then takes lightning damage.
Hey fellas, how are you, Shazam?
I'm rolling this 3 times.
No, roll it once.
Well, there's
No, my
23 lightning damage to 3 people.
Were
So-
potentially injured in the previous fight.
So,
Not with me, but with the goblins.
lightning strikes. By the way, they're holding the person wrapped in iron, so Nyx also takes 23 points of damage.
So I am unconscious.
All right, the wind drops.
Okay.
As the wind drops, the guards get hit by lightning, identify the person that was walking towards them, and another one of these spheres comes flying out. They no longer have disadvantage because the wind is gone.
This game is going to be called Everyone Gets Arrested and No Adventures Happen Ever.
Except for Corbin,
Yeah,
because
that's
he's part of
fine,
the
yeah.
adventuring guild.
What's your AC?
It's fine.
Currently, my AC
Is it higher than 21?
No.
Okay.
Persuade.
So you walk forward, raise your hand, cast your spell, lightning strikes, you get hit with a ball, and become very similarly wrapped up like the other person that you saw and hit the ground.
Okay.
So
I wasn't with her, officers.
Make a deception
You were
check.
so clearly with me.
Make a deception check with disadvantage.
Oh,
when
this is gonna
does
be
the
great.
lawful neutral cleric walk around the corner?
Hang on.
Thank you for saving me, officers. I was so scared she was going to cast that same lightning thing on me, officers. Thank you.
Fortunately, there are 3 of them, and they each have 1. So,
As I'm bound, I call it. I did not intend to attack you.
your armor class is 11, right?
Fully armed.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, don't worry. I think they just go about doing this randomly if they don't like someone's magic.
You're unconscious.
You're unconscious.
That's true. Right.
You're not mouthing off at
Changed
all.
my mind.
So
Like,
all 3 of you.
Let me know when I need to make that death save, by the way.
Were you brought to exact? How far below were you brought?
I have 19 hit points, 23, so 4.
Okay. So yeah. Go ahead and make a death saving throw.
This one's going to be
Fine.
called Some
As-
People Go to Prison and Aaron Makes a New Character.
Nyx dies. Episode 1.
That's the episode title.
Fortunately, the guards are
No,
not.
it's called the guards get in trouble for killing me instead of arresting me.
I mean,
Fortunately, the guards know they're not supposed to kill people just randomly, so
Have
they
you seen the modern justice system, guys?
they pull out
I
and they
was
pull
going
out
to make that joke.
they sort of pull out like a medical kit and bend down and start applying first aid to Nyx to stabilize, which they do. So you're still unconscious, but you are stable. You don't have to make another roll. And Boldrin, right about now, you're rolling around the corner as you see 3 guards lugging 3 people wrapped up in iron bands down the street.
I
Dying
did.
heavily the entire time.
I look at the 3 guards and they look like they just got zapped by lightning.
They do, yes.
I just look at them. Rangers, you alright? You need the ministrations of a cleric?
That would be nice, yes.
Right. Give me one moment, and I use my remaining first level spell slots and just cast Cure Wounds on each of them once.
Yeah, okay, that's enough.
Thank you for siding with our oppressors.
You're not there.
No, I'm not, and I don't know that I'm being oppressed either, so it's okay.
I am going to. Oh God.
I'm not being oppressed.
this is-
Don't do anything.
I am going
Oh,
to, as a
no.
bonus action, spend 2 of my sorcery points
Oh no.
to get a 2nd level spell back,
Okay.
and I am going to cast Misty Step.
Oh
No.
no. Can I tell she's casting something?
What are the component requirements of Misty Step?
Oh,
It's
that
actually
is a
just
good.
verbal.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. It's the get out of jail spell.
Yeah.
it really is.
Speaking of which, wait
That's fine.
until we're actually in jail to use the get out of jail
That's fine.
spell.
Selena doesn't make good judgment calls.
Make me a Constitution
I wanna
saving throw.
point- A Constitution saving throw?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, you're trying to teleport out of the iron bands of Belaro.
Yeah, it's real bad.
I feel like that's a poor choice from what everyone just said. I gotta say, guys, the new Skype update makes you all look fantastic.
Yay! That's nice.
Like, the video
Yay.
quality is primo.
Okay, so yeah.
Thanks,
So
Skype.
the bands collapse as you Misty Step away. The guard, seeing this in reaction, runs over, scoops it up. Where'd you Misty Step to?
30 feet, as near to an alleyway as I can.
Is that still within sight?
Yes, that is still within sight currently.
Use my 2nd level spell slot, cast Hold Person.
As the guard is getting ready
We're
to
gonna get
throw,
along great.
what's the
This is
DC on
all
hold person and what's
Actually,
the
misunderstandings.
My saving throw is 14.
It is. It would be hilarious that this could all have been explained much easier. All right, so I need to make a wisdom saving throw. Serena.
I'm taking advantage on that.
Okay.
That is great.
For those at
I
home,
like-
Jeremy,
I
why don't
really
you
like-
quick roll?
I really like how when it was the fight where it honestly didn't matter because I'm pretty sure there was no way we were going to lose. I was rolling like nothing but 15 or above. Now that it matters, I'm back to rolling how I roll. So I rolled 2 rolls. One was a natural 5, the other was a natural 2, and I have a wisdom of 8, which is why she's doing all of this.
So, thank you, cleric. And they apply the iron bands to you again. This time they don't have to throw it; they just walk up and tap. If you wouldn't mind giving us the assistance to bring them back towards the headquarters.
Certainly, if you'd like, you can load them onto my cart.
Shoo-thunk, shoo-thunk, shoo-thunk.
Right.
I was actually headed that way to retrieve payment for the fight earlier. In
Oh,
fact.
well. Thank you for your assistance. And they help you
So
drag the
was
cart.
I. But now,
I feel
That
like
money-
y'all aren't gonna
That
get
payment's
paid.
going towards bail.
So,
Lawful neutral. the
meanwhile,
law is
Really
important.
abducted, also lawful evil.
back at the Rangers headquarters. 5, you have been removed from the cage and given some food and like sort of a mug of wine, and sat in a fairly reasonably comfortable chair in a small sort of 5x5 room that has a couple of torches and sort of higher up, so it's not heating the room too terribly much. And the man in armor that brought you in here is sitting across from you, Lorian.
She is sitting cross-legged in the chair, and when they give her the mug, she takes out her own mug and, like, clinks it, like, cheers!
All right. There's nothing in your mug.
Nope, there's not. That doesn't matter.
So, can you tell me who you are?
5.
Is that a nickname? Is that a title?
5.
My men said that you came out of the abyss while they were returning with their captive. Do you remember anything before that?
Papa?
No.
5.
He sort of looks at you. I think we're going to need a cleric to take a look at you.
As the cleric is walking in the door.
Stay here. Eat your food. We'll be back in a minute, okay?
5.
Right. And he gets up and he walks out. The room is left unlocked. You're not guarded. You are just... He just asked you to stay here. And he walks out. And roughly at this time, he still steps outside. Corbin, you're there waiting. Ah, yes.
What's the food, by the way?
It is a leg of lamb. A leg of lamb and some bread and cheese.
Okay.
And then a goblet of wine.
Okay.
He
is drinking out of the empty mug and does not seem to know that it is empty.
Okay. Steps outside. Ah, yes. You're with the Adventurers Guild, correct?
Yeah.
Well, if you'll come in, we can arrange payment for your assistance. Thank you very much for your handiwork, as well as those of your fellows. Tithian should be around here sometime soon to collect payment for the rest of your group.
Yeah, we like taking your guys' gold.
Yes, I know. Come on inside. And he'll lead you in. Take you over to basically where the sort of like the reporting desk is for the Rangers. Lean over to the person on the other side of the counter and so go ahead and pay out 20 gold to the showman as well as to anybody else that comes in looking for the reward for assistance earlier today. There was only a few of them. If anyone comes by looking like they probably didn't do anything, let me know and I will verify.
I'll hang out and I'll verify too.
If you would, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
And he wanders off to the back. A little while later, Tithian arrives, walking in the door, spear sort of like resting on his shoulder.
This guy wasn't there.
Tithian
I
looks
said
over
jokingly.
No, actually, you're right. I wasn't. I left and proceeded to end the rampages of other monsters elsewhere in the city. But
yeah, no, that's what I said.
Thank you for verifying. Is Lorian already here?
That's who told me to hang out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say yeah, and he went that way.
All right. And he walks past you, and then roughly as he walks past you, that's when 3 slightly singed guards carrying 3 people bound in irons and followed by Boldrin walk into the room. And
actually cast Cure Wounds
clunk,
3 times. There you go.
Also, I want to
clunk.
give you a retroactive shame waggle for the cleric that didn't heal the unconscious person.
The guards did that before the cleric even showed up.
No,
You-
I was stabilized.
If you're stabilized, you're not dying. You
Well,
violated
no-
the law.
I have no
Awful.
interest in you, lassie, unless you're dying.
Exactly.
So sorry. So sorry to all our international friends.
clink, clink, clink. They walk over to the desk. 3 for Captain Lorian. 1 was the escapee from earlier in the morning. The other 2 assaulted Rangers.
I'm innocent!
I assaulted no one.
You hit us with
did.
lightning bolts.
I did not cast anything lightning oriented. It just happened.
It just happened all over the 3 of us and our captive.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate, but it.
How obvious?
But
is that
I
dagger, by the way,
didn't
Selena?
do it. Huh?
How obvious is that dagger, by the way, Selena, that you recently grabbed?
It's in my pack with, or probably it might even be on my belt with the other two. So
There's a bunch of bars.
You can make
I don't
make a
know.
perception check with disadvantage because she's kind of wrapped up in iron.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I recognize the maker stamp from. No, probably not.
No, it's hidden. The maker stamp is distinctly different though from the other two. But, man, I don't know. Take on the ground. We'll get the truth out of you yet. Don't worry.
I mean, you already did. Anything else is going to be wasting your time, and it's time we could probably better spend doing something else.
Can I just get my
Right.
gold?
Right. And
Yeah, no, they were there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They were.
I don't know what you guys
Yes.
did since then, but they were there.
I fucked up an ogre. Thank you very much.
And then
Oh,
you
no,
hit us
I
with
was about to
lightning
say-
bolt.
No, I did not hit.
Give me an evening's prayer, and I'll be able to extract the truth myself if you need me.
Oh, we're gonna. We have adjudicator that can come by and do it.
Shit, what did you guys do?
What?
They,
Which one did it?
not me. They attacked guards. I
did not attack guards.
I actually didn't either. I'm unconscious.
At this point, Lorian walks back into the room with Tithian, and they are not arguing currently. And Tithian sort of looks over the group of them. Lorian also looks. And then almost in unison, they both facepalm.
And Boldrin just kind of chuckles and like tips is there like an urn somewhere, like a garbage urn somewhere?
Yeah.
Like tips some of the ashes from his cigar into the garbage and puts it back as he's chuckling.
I see we have our captive and 2 additionals.
No.
Lorian says. The guards begin to explain what happened, that they found the captive, and then they were bringing him back, and then the other one came up to them and cast lightning bolt on them, and they were all struck by
Absolutely
lightning.
So
factually
we need someone
untrue.
to run running stats now. First tick in the misgendered Nick's box.
And like the whole time with Selena arguing, Tithian looks over at Lorian. They're right next door. You want me to go get them? Yes, please. I'll be back. And Tithian walks out the door. Lorian just looks over at the cleric. You know, you wouldn't happen to have any sort of something for a headache, would you?
Actually, I see. Let me see if the poisons are ritual spells.
Um,
I'm
You're
out
poison
to.
a guy?
I've expended most of my readily available divine powers for the day. Let me see if I can call upon anything over a longer period. Let's see if any of the nullify poisons or anything are ritual spells. While that's happening, go ahead and.
No, that's mostly for a joke. But after a while, another figure comes in from the door, following Tithian, who comes back in. It's a tall, slender woman wearing sort of looks like it's a robe that's very much tied like a toga would be. It's sort of holding itself in place and embroidered with the insignia of a scale. That has a scroll wrapped around it. And this person has sort of it's a blindfold on their face, but you don't know if it's working very well because there's just 2 glowing orbs where the eyes would normally be, like behind it, just glowing through it as they walk through into the room. When they walk into the room, I need everybody to make me a wisdom save. Everyone in the room, except the person who's unconscious and therefore can't be affected by this.
And I'm not in the room, yes?
No, you're further.
There's no
away.
advantage.
13.
I rolled with disadvantage. It should be 24.
Yeah. Baldwin, you're fine, but you do know what this is. This is an aura of tranquility. It's sort of it's something that the adjudicators in particular exude in order to make people more calm and less emotional and erratic around them.
I'm a cleric of the Forge. I'm already steel focused. So
Corbin, Selena, and Hope, you calm down.
There it is.
Pretty calm.
Like,
Yep. There it is.
You go for any level of agitation you may have had previously has evaporated. And it's just in this person's presence you are calm.
I kind of hold my cigar for a second and look over at Lorian. That help?
How well
Yes,
do I
actually.
Can I make an Arcana roll to know the spell?
Sure. Make an Arcana roll.
10.
You know there are spells that do similar things, but this is actually not a spell. You actually, because you're a fire genasi, you have a little bit more of a twinge for innate abilities than others do.
Mm-hmm.
This is something innate to this person.
Okay.
Paladins of the Oath of Redemption. Or monks of one of the other oaths, one of the other orders.
Well then.
Do I know whether it is something that can sometimes be resisted?
You're not certain. This is your first time experiencing it.
I will play it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the choice was, she wasn't really that upset at that moment anyways.
Yeah, no. But it
was a matter of whether she continued to play upset or not. And
it's
going on
it's
the
sort of a feel that
side.
It's sort of a feel like, yeah, you could theoretically continue to play up being upset.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
But that feels like a lot of effort right now. You're really mellow right now.
I mean,
So what you're saying is this person has a drug aura at all times.
It's the weed aura.
It's the weed aura.
I'm already smoking a cigar. It's kind of not getting to me.
So I'm confused by that description. I don't get the option to act like I'm upset.
You can act like you're upset. Yes. Even if you were to act like you're upset, it would just feel like a lot of effort. You can still do that. You can push yourself to do it. It's just, it feels like more work than is necessarily necessary. That's what I mean by it's a calming effect, but even if you were already calm, it still is having an effect on you.
Yes. No, this is not, it would not be an emotional choice on her part.
Yes.
It would be an intelligence tactical choice on her part.
Yes, and you could still do that.
Yeah, she's playing it safe, though.
Well then, it looks like we've got a bit of a fuss. And as this person talks, she talks almost like that teacher that understands you're upset and knows everything's gonna be okay. Like, just, it's alright. And
I would like to spontaneously develop the ability to cast Blight on her.
You are unconscious. Well then, Lorian, if you would like to maneuver them wherever you need, I will be with you when you ask your questions. Thank you. And the guards proceed to carry the three of you that are in shackles into individual rooms.
Okay.
And then he goes first to the one with Selena in it, because Selena is the one that's the more immediate threat. He sits down, she comes in behind, the door closes. He reaches over and mutters a phrase and punches a thing on and like pokes part of the bands, and they form back into a ball. He catches it. You're welcome. If you wouldn't mind having a seat.
Yes.
What's in his bag? Sits down. I'm High Captain Lorian of the Core Knight Rangers.
Yes, yes. My name is Selena.
Mm-hmm. So,
the pleasure.
Would you mind explaining what happened that got you in that mess?
So, I and the the woman I don't even know her name. We pretty much just met. We're happily walking. I turned around the corner and saw those guards with that individual who was also in those bands. We're very curious about these story about this cultist thing. So I approached and simply wanted to ask there were three of them. I was approached the one in front. I wanted to ask it's just some more information about it. And so it is sort of my fault, but chaos sometimes strikes around me. I don't intend to do it. And lightning struck. I didn't purposely attack anybody. I certainly did not cast lightning bolt on them. That is a very different thing that I cannot even do, for the record. And then the immediate reaction was not what just happened. The immediate reaction was imprison. Being concerned about this, I attempted to escape because I was worried about my well-being. They did not seem to be exercising good judgment in that capacity. And then that cleric who was out there stopped me. And then I was brought here. There is not a single lie in that. There is simply lies of omission.
So make a. It's still gonna be a deception roll.
Okay. I will give myself advantage on that shit. Hey, it actually worked to have advantage this time. I got a 23.
So he looks like he genuinely believes you. No, that. I mean, I apologize for the behavior of the Rangers, but
it's quite all right. I understand. I mean, I understand that inclination.
he looks over Harita, and she looks down at you, tilts her head. You get this sort of tingling sensation down the back of your spine.
Mm-hmm.
And she smiles at you. It's an unnerving kind of a smile.
Okay.
Nothing that was said is incorrect. He looks at her. Could you be a little bit less vague? And she looks down at you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I was concerned that approaching the guards, they might have been hostile. So I did happen to attempt to cast a charm spell. I don't know if it even worked.
That is the entirety of the truth. Thank you, Harita. I'll overlook it, he says.
Thanks.
You. And I certainly understand why you would want to, with the chaos in the city streets recently.
Yeah.
You certainly didn't do any favors for yourself, but...
No,
you did,
I understand I exercised poor judgment and
you did just previously help us out with a bit of an invasion issue. So, we're willing to let the things be awash.
Wonderful.
With a catch.
Yes.
Once I get the rest of your friends, acquaintances, statements, I'll explain it to you. I'll have some men bring in some food if you'd like. Otherwise, you can stay here, go back out to the lobby. Just don't leave the building.
I will You know what? I am perfectly comfortable staying here.
Very well. We'll have some food brought in for you.
Thank you.
And they stand up, walk out, and after a couple minutes, a guy comes in with a plate of mutton and bread and cheese and a
Perfect.
goblet of wine.
Dude, it's this day has worked out perfectly.
It's not like great wine.
That's fine.
It's Bonner Tavern in bulk wine.
I mean, this day literally started with, okay, where am I getting food next? So I have food.
It's true. Next, they go into the room that Hope is in. And tink, clink, 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 clink.
Mhm.
Again, I'm sorry about this whole thing, but I do need to find out what exactly happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am High Captain Lorian of the Cornite Rangers, this is Harita, the Ebony Judicator of the Triumvirate. If you would please explain in your own words what happened that led you here.
We were just going along, trying to figure out, me and that other individual had decided that we had heard you talking about the cultists that had gotten loose, and that seemed like not a good thing, so we decided to help. And in that process, we're trying to track them down. Him, down. And we heard an explosion. Went to go investigate, and she told me to attack 2 of your guards.
I did not say that.
Yes, you did.
You're
I
not
said-
there.
No,
Yes,
I know.
you did.
You're not there.
I know, I'm not there.
Yeah. She told me to attack 2 of the guards, and I was not going to. And then lightning struck, and chaos erupted, and I got caught up in it. I am innocent.
Make a persuasion roll.
All right. I'm bad at persuasion. Oh, I'm actually no. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Yes.
So he sort of like leans back in his chair while you're talking because he wasn't expecting such an energetic outburst.
Mhm.
Like, I am sorry, Arita? And Arita looks down at you, tilts her head. You feel this tingling down the back of your spine.
Mhm.
What she has said is the truth as she sees it. She is also one of my kind, so there is a little less reliance on outright deception, at least for one of the Scalebearer's ilk. Though the truth can vary from person to person's perspective.
I'm not looking her in the eyes. I am steadily avoiding.
You have this
It's
sense that she is also an ASMR,
Yep.
and you feel like this. You two are very different,
Mhm.
but the same.
Yeah,
And
I
that-
don't like it.
That not in a way that's good for you, in a way that's bad for you. So it's tweaking
Yeah.
you in the back, like sort of.
Yep.
And he sort of looks over at you. Right. Well, you're not actually being charged with anything. We just need to make whenever any sort of conflict happens with the guards, everybody gets detained, basically, until we find out what's going on.
Following the letter of the law. Great idea. It's good.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. We'll be sure to compensate you for your time and any
Oh, good.
damages that may have happened.
That will help. Thank you.
Right. If you want to stay in here, you can. If not, you can go out there to the lobby. Don't leave yet. We'll have somebody bring some food for you.
Are there vents in the connecting the rooms?
No.
Okay. So, all right, then I go out.
And after a minute, somebody brings you a plate with mutton and bread and cheese and a goblet of wine.
Eat it. It's delicious.
And Boldrin, you've been paid 20 gold, and you've been asked to stay behind as well.
Certainly.
Corbin, you as well, and you've both been provided food as well. Finally, we get to the last room. Nyx is unconscious, laying on the ground. You feel a warmth enveloping you, and you wake up.
I'm assuming I recognize healing magic.
Yes, you do.
Given I have it.
And you are back to full hit points. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
There's one thing I'm good at. 15.
All that sort of like indignation and irritation and any sort of emotional highs or lows you had been feeling previously have been centered into a sort of mellow calm.
Okay. First thing I do, I realize I'm not actually panicking, but just sort of instinctively check in on sort of the inside of me, see if that is using this as an opportunity to burst out.
The sort of that roiling feeling inside that you have also seems to have been mellowed.
As long as it didn't fuck up me without fucking up that thing, I'm fine.
Hello there. And if you'd like to take a seat, he says, indicating the chair next to you.
John, I'm going to direct your attention to whispers if it's relevant.
Yes, I saw. So, I'm High Captain Lorian of the Coronite Rangers. This is Harita, the Ebony Judicator. What's your name?
Nyx.
Right. And I believe you're the one that we were looking for previously. We had received reports that there was suspicious characters operating in the southern woods down along the river. Potentially Abyssian cultists that sought to bring harm to outlying villages. And we went to investigate.
Well, that sounds like a fine excuse to abduct someone. I'm kidding. No, it doesn't.
My guards appear to have found you. Would you care to...
Yes,
Would you care to tell me who you are, what you were doing, and then also why my guards had to chase you down through the city instead of bringing you here and having this conversation earlier?
Well, to be quite honest, this started when your god found me while I was bathing and decided the appropriate thing to do was catcall and put me with arrow point. Then put me in a cage and drag me on down to your city, which probably I would imagine is not a great idea. I was living my life quite contentedly out of the way of the people that want to kill me.
Why would anyone want to kill you?
And you decide to drag me towards the city. Well, weren't you looking for abyss worshippers? I don't worship the thing, of course. It's a natural phenomenon, not a god. But peacefully living my life out of the way of other people is not, in at least my definitions of morality, a appropriate reason to abduct someone. So when the abyss struck back, that I'm not entirely sure if that was my fault. I do apologize if it was. I decided to leave because there was no reason for you to, as I said, abduct me. Twice. And then I'm not entirely sure if you fried me or if that was someone else.
I believe that would have been the work of our wild magic sorcerer that accidentally lit up both you and my guards.
Sorry.
When he looks over at Harita, who looks at you, tilts her head. You also feel that tingly sensation down your spine. And as she takes a bit longer with you...
He didn't make attempts not to lie. Much of what he said was the truth, but he used sarcasm, he did other things.
I know. As she takes a slightly longer time with you, that's where we're going to end for the night. And we will pick up with this conversation next week on more Gran Terra Rebirth. So, we have been Final Show Films, which is a wide variety of content every day of the week. You can check us out on our website at finalshowfilms.com. You can also check us out on our Patreon page at patreon.com/FSFilms. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so there. Thank you to all of our patrons, especially our $25 tier supporters, Chris Comfort, Antitonic, and Cat Waterflame. Thank you all for your support. Also, if you're watching on Twitch, be sure to, you can feel free to subscribe. Especially if you have Twitch Prime, you get a free subscription. You can throw our way. We appreciate that. You can also throw bits our way if you are a bit harvester, and be sure to let folks know to follow us here because we are currently Twitch affiliates. Once we get to 500 followers, we get to become Twitch partners, which means we get a bigger chunk of change from our subscribers and bits. So, pass the word around. We like that. Also, feel free to throw money our way on our Patreon page because that helps us do all the things we like to do and all the things we want to do. So. Also, I'd like to thank the folks over at 411mania.com. Jeremy, tell the good folks out there about 411mania.com.
411mania.com is a site that caters to all sorts of pop culture interests, basically everything you could be interested in that respect. If you want to know the latest, read reviews of the latest comic books that come out every Wednesday, we've got a column that does that. If you want to know which truly fantastic show Netflix has just renewed for a second season, we've got that on the site. We cover movies, television, comic books, music, video games, wrestling, mixed martial arts. Heading into SummerSlam next weekend, we're going to have a ton of news on that and live coverage. And of course, all the stuff that Final Show Films does. It's 411mania.com.
And we appreciate that. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. And we will see you all next time. Say goodbye, everybody.
Later.
Bye.